Welcome to This Is Not Legal Advice and our fabulous New Orleans themed tarot pick a card. I have some really great messages for all three of the piles. So, irrespectively of whichever one you choose, you're going to have a great time. Of course, go with whatever resonates and ignore the rest. Our first deck is going to be represented by this beautiful black masquerade mask, and it is going to be with our Tarot of the Abyss. Okay. The second pile is going to be this Mardi Gras colored mask, and it is with this Violet Soul Tarot. Just look at how gorgeous that is. I love that. I mean, I love all my decks. Sorry, decks. I love all my children equally, but you know what I mean. And then our third pile is this beautiful blue mask, and underneath we have our Tarot of the Owls. So I'll give you a minute to think about it, but watch one or more, whatever you'd like. I'm going to timestamp it below, but you have option one, pile one, black mask with the Tarot of the Abyss, not Abyss, that's a different thing, it's a soup. Pile two with the Mardi Gras colors and the Violet Soul Tarot, or pile three with the blue and the Tarot of the Owls. So thank you for joining me. This is not legal advice. Like, subscribe, share, and take this time to pause and pick your pile. Thank you. Hello, pile one. If you chose the Black Masquerade Mask as well as the Tarot of the Abyss and the Storm Cloud Oracle, this is going to be your pile. So thank you so much for joining me at This Is Not Legal Advice. I will tell you that, as I indicated in the intro, that I originally had one idea for this reading today, but as I went about things, Spirit seemed to indicate to me um, that I was wrong and there was something else that I needed to do. So, what I decided with the guidance of Spirit was to see for each of the piles what area of your life you might have a choice of things to do with. So, in this pile, as I can tell so far, it appears to me that the choice you're dealing with is one of spirituality, one of growth, one of where do I go from here? How do I develop on a personal level? If that resonates with you, if that makes sense to you, then this is your pile. If not, it may not be. You might want to check out pile two or pile three. But what I'm seeing a lot of heavy energy here for is, what does your spiritual life, your personal life, your growth look like if you were to take one path or another path? And to that end, I have pulled some oracle cards from various decks, and well, let's see what Spirit has to say about it. So, thank you so much for joining me once again. This is not legal advice. This is your host, Tinla, and we are going to go ahead and get started with pile one. Again, thank you so much for joining me. So, mind your ears. One, two, three. Okay, so what I'm hearing Spirit say, interestingly enough, is you picked the deck that is, or the two decks really, that are the sepia or white and black sort of tone. And it says to me that maybe in your life you're viewing things, spiritually speaking, as black or white. I'm either 100% in with respect to spirituality, or I'm out. I'm either an atheist or I'm pick your poison. Okay, pick whatever religious affiliation you want. I'm either into the divine and the spiritual things, or I'm not. And I think what Spirit is saying here is it doesn't have to be that way. There's a whole spectrum in the middle of that, a whole series of gray between the black and the white. And honestly, what's interesting to me right now, just out of the gate, is the other piles are more colored. In fact, pile two is more of a purple theme, and pile three is sort of a rainbow theme. And your pile, yes, there's some rainbow elements here and beautiful colors, but the decks themselves are very much black and white. So I think what I'm hearing Spirit say here is it doesn't have to be all or nothing. There is a transitory period. There is room for exploration and growth and development. So while the other piles I feel like are going to be one or two in terms of options, A or B, that kind of thing, you're not really there in the sense of, yes, you can have A and B, but there's really this sort of middle ground that I think Spirit is wanting to see. I think that's a take home message here. But let's go ahead and start and see what these two sort of warring factions are in your mind, pile one. Once again, thank you. This is not legal advice. This is your host, Tinla. Let's go ahead and look at this side of the spectrum, if you will, of black and white. And we'll move over to this side. And if this resonates with you, great. If it does not, look at pile two, pile three. We'll get some tarot after all of this and some advice from Spirit on what this might mean for you in your life. Okay, so starting on this side, we have this elusive priestess here, and this is from the gorgeous New Orleans deck. Again, this whole theme for today is about my trip to New Orleans. It's coming up. I love New Orleans. What a great and spiritual city, just so much vibrance, so much life, so much energy. And this card to me is just the epitome of amazing energy, and just gorgeous color, and almost like a flame, just coming out here. But if you look real close, it's actually a person, and it's meant to be like a dress or something like that. And to me, this says that out of the gate, you might look like somebody who isn't necessarily spiritual on the outside, but internally, you're very much a bright flame of curiosity and interest, and somebody who is working on yourself all the time. But maybe you're struggling right now with this elusive priestess words here, and number five, which is an energy of working through things. When I think of the Five of Wands, the Five of Swords, I'm thinking of a battle, of something like a struggle. And so I think you're really wrestling on this side here with who am I and what do I believe is right for me in life. And I think you're starting to see some of the color and the beauty and the mystery, but it's still elusive to you. You are, I think, again, really wrestling and grappling with concepts of spirituality. And, you know, I think, again, with this here, we have the humiliation card, and it says, I accept and embrace my body as it is. Number 20. Again, number 20, if I'm not mistaken, is the judgment card if we look at traditional tarot. So it's an energy of like a resurrection of, at some level, maybe you had a set of beliefs as a child where maybe you strayed from those beliefs, or you learned more about the ways of the world, and you don't really know how all those things, all those pieces fit together. I mean, even if they fit together, and how does that relate to your day to day life? And, I think at a practical level, you're thinking of yourself maybe as not worthy or not good enough to really deserve an explanation of how the world works. I think you've maybe, again, struggled through some really serious issues where it's caused you to question the faith of your childhood, um, and even caused you to question yourself as a person, and what it all means. And so I think there's a lot of sense of confusion, very, very much like a Seven of Cups energy here, where there's just so many options and you don't really know what to do. And so, because of that, by not choosing A or B or not moving forward in some way, it's you're very critical of yourself and harsh on yourself. And I think, what spirit is saying is that's okay though. You're human like the rest of us, at least as far as I can tell, right? We're all human. And it's not always clear to us what the answer may be. But there's like a sun kind of peeking around the corner of this sad heart here. Like maybe you're starting to see the meaning behind it all, and like a resurrection of some level of faith within yourself, whether that's faith again in a formal religion, or faith in yourself, or faith in just sort of like a grander plan of the universe. I think you're starting to get there, right? And how are we getting there? Well, we have the number nine with this anger. Now, nine is in the traditional tarot, it's the hermit card. You're retreating within. A lot of what is going on here is, like we said, with the elusive priestess card here, this one, it's like it's bubbling beneath the surface. It's things that people may see you as being very steady and level, or even, I dare say, superficial. I don't think you're superficial, but people may have that view of you. Maybe you do a really good job of putting on a front of positivity, or, kind of being in control of your realm. But underneath it all, there's a spirit of questioning, and an internal quietness, this hermit mode, this number nine, right? Where you are delving within and kind of withdrawing internally from society. Like you're putting on that front of, I'm happy, I'm fine, it's all good. Maybe people who don't really know you very well think that everything's just copacetic and great. But internally, there's a lot of like an existential crisis of sorts, right? And what I'm seeing here, you have the sword here, um, which of course can represent truth and air energy. So that sort of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, not that you have to be those things, or but you could have them in your chart. It's irrelevant. But it's just good to know. It might be confirmation for you. But what I'm seeing here is like a cross basically, and this like this crescent moon star energy right there, which could represent, like, for example, um, in the Muslim religion, this is very like a symbolic representation of a lot of the Muslim faith in this crescent moon with a star, and of course Christianity with the cross, and I dare say, as a Jew, um, Judaism with the guilt of, oh, you hurt me. What's up with that? Um, I'm joking, of course, but what I'm saying is, I feel like this card very much represents a struggle and a an attempt to grasp, like here, like a grasping of what is true and what is real. And I think that, with this anger, which is a very interesting word that they have on this card here, because this doesn't strike me as anger, it strikes me as pain, it strikes me as struggle, with the drops here of what appears to be some kind of, you know, uh, hematocrit laden cells, because I guess we can't say certain things on YouTube. But there's like a sense of anger and frustration within you that you just want to know, what does it all mean? Um, in particular, I'm feeling and hearing a sense of, you may have lost someone that you love very dearly in the not too distant past, or it could be that it was somewhat long ago, but it feels very recent. Like there could be an anniversary of someone's passing that is coming up. I mean, I'm reading this on December 9th in the middle of the night because I'm wild like that. What can I say? But this is a timeless reading, right? So whatever you're seeing, this is when it's meant to be. And it could be that you're coming across like an anniversary of someone's death, and you are thinking like, what does it all mean? What does it all mean? Why are any of us here? What is the purpose of this? Like, why did this person have to suffer like that? They didn't deserve it. Like, why do I get to live and they passed? And I think there's a lot of turmoil, and that could be what's triggering this sort of existential crisis that we were talking about. This sort of humiliation of this embarrassment, this pain, this struggle of, I am here in a physical form, and I have the ability to grow older and love those around me and experience life. But this person I'm thinking of, they didn't get to do that. I'm feeling like this might be especially relevant to somebody who has lost a younger person, um, or at least somebody that it seemed like they were perfectly healthy one day and then not the next, where it was very unexpected. This was not somebody who was elderly or somebody who was struggling, with like a long-term disease where you kind of saw things coming. This is a situation where it kind of like caught you off guard and it really shook up your reality. Again, it could be very recently, or it could be something where there's an anniversary coming up where it is rehashing that feeling in you. And with this gateway card here, what first of all, can we just talk about how beautiful that is? Just, I'm sorry, I am such a sucker for art and supporting artists in the tarot community. Just gorgeous. I mean, anyway, not the point. It says gateway, and when I see this, I think about that passage, that sacred passage from this world to the next, and the mystery. Right, this is a unicorn here, and not like a rhinoceros sense, right? Because I think rhinoceri are like unicorns in real time, but this is the mystery and the magic and the beauty and the majesty, yes, of the passageway between the two realms of life and death, and the gateway between the two. And I think what spirit is indicating here is, look at all this gorgeous color that you can have here, um, in your life, if you stop seeing things as black and white, life, death, extremes in some way, right? Entirely religious, entirely atheistic. It could go either way, but not necessarily. It could be some beautiful combination in the middle, and I see that here with, these colors here. And we have in the awakening card on the other side, we have the lotus, which is very emblematic of rebirth and reincarnation, if that were something you believed in. um, it's just a sense of, spirit saying, this transition period that you're experiencing as a result perhaps of someone else's transition is very valid, and you can choose to chase this elusive priestess and come to terms, sort of, and a better understanding of yourself, of the universe, of everything, if you can just see beyond the black and white of it all. And we have this Vesta card here, which, if I'm not mistaken, Vesta is an asteroid, which, asteroids, again, typically are minor influences on your charts, but can have a very significant influence. Again, if you're not, you're on a planet like Earth and an asteroid hits the Earth, right? Like, it wiped out the dinosaurs. Like, it has a very significant impact. So it really depends on how that asteroid is affecting you. So it may be that this, you're going to let this pass, you're going to not deal with it, you're going to let it be and carry on with the day to day. Or it could be that you will allow the emotional impact of these things that you're feeling really, really change your perspective going forward. And that is one option here where you could do that. You could choose to let it go, or you could choose to let it impact you. And that's where I'm seeing the sort of dichotomy here. Although I hesitate to call it that because I don't think it's a black and a white. I think it's a process, right? And here it says inner spark, sacrifice, and devotion. So I think there's a part of you that feels like that inner spark is lit. That curiosity, maybe there were things you believed as a child that at that time you believed naively or because you didn't know any better. And as you got older, you kind of fell away from that, or this thing that happened challenged that where you didn't know where to go or what to do with that information. How does like somebody passing fit into the rubric of, well, I was a part of this faith, and what does my faith say about that, and how do I work those things together? And I think that struggle could have really put you off from the quest of your more spiritual high self. And Sagittarius, to me, talks about that philosophy, that philosophical self, that quest for adventure and knowledge and doing something different. So I think there's a part of you internally that's very much looking for, how does this affect me? Like, what do I do with this impact? How do I integrate this impact into my life? Do I want to even deal with that? Or do I just want to, like, say, this is what life is? People die, people pass, things happen, and just move on? Or do I embrace that and say, okay, the universe has given me an opportunity with this tragedy, perhaps, to say, how does this impact me? How does this change me? How does this make me see things as differently? And we'll come back to that with the bat, right? Because of course the bat, it hangs upside down, it's nocturnal, it sees things differently, very hanged man energy. But anyway, point is, on this side, if you wanted to divide it, which I think there's an energy in you where you kind of want to see things clearly, it's black or it's white. It's much easier to perceive things as black or white, right? This is good, this is bad, this is holy, this is not holy, this is good, this is evil. Um, and world, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, the world is a lot easier to process when you have a black and white view. To see the spectrum of color and of gray between the two, that's where the challenge lies. And so I do feel like these are both you, and it's not so much of like an A or B, it's more of like a 8.5B, something in the middle, if you're willing to embrace that. If not, the universe is saying that's fine, carry on. But there is an alternative. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And I'm just having like the strongest sense of deja vu. And I'm going to go ahead and take a drink of my not hot coffee. So I encourage you to do the same. But all this talking does definitely dry my mouth out. So I apologize for the slurping noises. Anywho, when I'm looking at this side, I want to point out in this dark night of the soul here. I mean, first of all, it's 32. So you could be 32 years of age or 23 if you're really, I guess, sort of an old soul for your age. You've been through maybe a lot, even at 32. I mean, it's still pretty young. Um, anyway, you could have gone through a lot. And I'm seeing with the red eye here, a lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of pain. And with the dark night of the soul, it's as I ask for help when I need it. It's a point of pride, I think, for you also to struggle through things alone and feel like almost like you're a burden on others if you ask for help. And I think spirit is saying, even in your darkest days, yes, you may want to retreat in a lot of ways into yourself with that humiliation card, right? Or with that anger card. You want to come into yourself, but at some level, you can benefit from letting those you trust and love in to you and your space, to love you through the pain, right? Like, I think you're feeling very spiky, right? You're pushing people away. Um, and that pushing away is born out of pain. I don't think you want to push people away. I think you do it because the hurt inside of you, it's like a wounded animal, right? That needs help, truly needs help. But anybody that tries to approach it and give that help is met with the spikes, is met with the teeth and the fangs and the claws, right? Again, not because that creature is intrinsically bad, but because it's in pain. And I feel like there may be some level where you have pushed people away in your life, who have tried to help you, who have tried to support you, because you didn't want to look weak, because you were in so much pain that you had to put this like hard candy shell around yourself to stop the bleeding, stop the pain. And, I'm seeing like stop the bleeding. We got drops here, we've got drops here. This could be tears or, sort of a bleeding situation. You're putting the kibosh on it, and you're like a lid on that pain. And unfortunately, when you're trapping that lid, that pain with a lid, you're also pushing everybody else away. And we have that 32 up here, which 3 and 2 is 5, which again, 5, we go back to this elusive priestess energy right here with the number 5. So there is on both sides room for growth, room for development, room for maturation. And I think when it comes to this side of the spectrum, I feel like over here it's very much a loner energy. It's very much standing by this. Whereas on this side, Spirit's saying, but what if you didn't? Like, what if you actually tried to release that and let people in? And I'm seeing that also with the lost card, which is in reverse here, um, which of course, I mean, intrinsically talks about obviously loss, right? But I think it's Spirit's way of saying, yes, you have lost things, you have suffered, there has been pain. But when I look at it from this angle, I'm seeing like a sunrise. The sun will rise again. Your losses will bring about growth, almost like when you have like dead material that forms into mulch and nutrients for the soil for other things to grow, like here with the flower's growth, like your pain, your tears, your suffering can be fertile ground for drawing closer to those you love, friends, family, your support system, really integrating yourself into a spiritual community. Even if you don't call it that, right? Maybe it's just like a friend group or like you play dominoes on a Sunday or something like that. But it's you could very much turn that frown upside down and and turn that loss into success and to joy, if you're able to shift your perspective. Again, very much like a hanged man energy, right? Changing perspective, like I said, with this bat in the middle, which represents the overall energy. Can you change your perspective? Can you see this loss as something that can, um, like catapult you into a new direction, into something beautiful and positive, or are you going to sit and kind of stew in this loss, in the tears, in the pain, in the suffering? Or can you change that perspective? And I think Spirit's saying, look, you can if you want to. It's up to you. What do you want to do? And we have here this awakening card, right? What a beautiful card. Again, I love this deck. It's this gorgeous New Orleans deck. Just the sun shining, peeking out from behind you, the lotus flower representing new life and awakening and rebirth. The heart of obviously like shapes here, just love and just so much beauty in this card. Where Spirit saying, I mean, look at the contrast, right? We have the spikiness right here representing like pushing people away, right, with the black spikes around this teary eye looking thing. And here you also have like the spikes, but there's spikes of like love, of energy, of positivity. And you can choose, do you want to see this or do you want to see that? How can you transform and transmute the pain into something beautiful that you can share with the world or even just with your friends or family members? Um, this it says awakening clearly here, right? And I think this is an opportunity for you to awaken to the potential that you have, again, to transform the losses into a different perspective. And it's up to you though, how do you want to proceed with that, right? And look at this beautiful leadership card, right? We have the aurora borealis here in the background, this polar bear. It just, telling you you have so much potential, not only for yourself and your own personal growth, but for those around you to be a leader, like a stalwart, like a foundation, somebody who can set an example for others and lead them into beautiful things. Even in the dark of night, there can be beauty, right? That's what I'm seeing with this aurora borealis here. Like there can be gorgeous things in the night, even if you wouldn't otherwise think so, right? You're looking for the sun, you're looking for this bright new beginning, but even in the dark, even when you're thinking black and white, there can be beauty. And we have here the North Star, right? I presume that's what it's intended to signify here on the card. And it's like, as long as your North Star is true, as long as your heart is true, as long as your spirit is true, you can't go wrong. And it's just a matter of like taking that leap of faith, very much fool energy. Can you step into this faith that says, I can turn this negativity into positivity. I can be a leader and an example in my community. I can shift the narrative. Do you have the fortitude to do that? And I think with Chiron here, it's talking about very much that suffering, that internal pain. And I think it's the universe recognizing, look, you have suffered. You've had a KO, right? Like a knockout. I know that's the symbol for Chiron, but like I'm seeing KO knockout. Like you have been pushed down, shoved down. You've gone through it. You've really been through some things and some stuff. There's been a lot of pain, and I don't mean to trivialize that in any way. Um, but what I think the universe is saying here is take that pain and use it for good, or not. You know, you can sit and you can stew and you can weep over it, and that's okay too. All right, maybe now is not the time for that for you. We'll see, but you have a choice. Do you sit in the suffering and stay stagnant? You know, very Four of Pentacles, or do you Four of Swords heal? You know, they're both fours. They're just different aspects of that four. And we have here the first quarter moon. Um, you know, momentum, initiative, magnetism is what it says here. It's getting started, right? That new moon was black, right? It was darkness. The new moon is dark, and it represents, of course, the beginning of the cycle, of the lunar cycle. And you've had that dark night of the soul right here. It's a confirmation. You've had that dark night of the soul. You've been through the thing. You've suffered the pain. Where is that? Where is that first quarter moon going to take you, though? What is the new cycle in your life? Where are you going to um, not just embrace the pain and accept the pain, but take it and transmute it to a whole new level of awakening, of leadership, of helping others again in your community that have gone through similar pains? And like I said, the overall energy here, this bat number 6 here, it says a different perspective, right? And I think that's the overall theme truly of this reading for you, pile one, is are you going to see things as you have always seen them? Are you going to stagnate in the pain and the suffering and the negativity? Or are you going to start to see some of that color, that beauty, the thing like, are you going to transmute? Are you going to be able to turn that negative, sad, horrifying experience into something that from a different perspective could prove very powerful? And right now I'm thinking about like Virginia Guffey. God bless her, and I hope that she rests in peace. And I feel like almost drawn to tears by her story right now. Um, Suffered so tremendously in her life, but because of her fortitude, her internal ability to turn that horrible experience that she lived and stand like a beacon of hope and of light to those around her, almost even after her passing is working in a way to tear down terrible institutions, inflicting pain on people, inflicting suffering. And she did that because she was able to have a different perspective. Yes, this was awful. Both things can be true. I can have experienced awful things, but I can also turn those awful things into something powerful and beautiful if I choose to awaken. And spirit is saying to you, almost like issuing a challenge, like throwing down the gauntlet. What are you going to do, pile one? What are you going to do? Um, what a just absolutely powerful message, truly. Let's see what it is that spirit is going to advise you of on this, pile one. We're going to go ahead and draw some tarot on this because I'd like to see what advice, what consolation, perhaps, what comfort spirit can give you as you progress through this dark night of the soul into hopefully an awakening, and embrace the elusiveness, embrace the unknown, and take a bold step. What is spirit going to suggest for you? What is the advice from spirit? Not from me, because this is not legal advice, to be clear, but what is spirit going to say? So I'm going to ask spirit, um, for my pile one viewers who are going through it, who have been through it, who are reminded of the times that they've been through it. What comfort, what advice, what knowledge can you provide for them, spirit, as they walk this path, this individual path that we all have in our lives? What advice, spirit, can you provide? Thank you again for joining me. I can't stress this enough. If you feel inclined to drop a like or a share or a comment, I would really appreciate it. Maybe you could share your light even that way as a start. So we have the Five of Swords here, and I'm going to get some more cards and we'll go from there. The Ace of Swords in reverse, the Ace of Cups in the upright, the Knight of Cups in the upright. And I'll get one more. Spirit, give me one more, please. One more, please, for the pile one viewers. Oh, I got two. We have the Ten of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. And I got to tell you, I'm not surprised at any of this. Bottom of the deck, we have Seven of Pentacles. Okay, so Spirit is saying, look, I recognize you have been through it. The Five of Swords, there's been pain, there's been suffering. I mean, look, we've got these swords like in a muffin, right? There's an energy of like, what a waste, right? what a waste for you to have gone through this pain and yet not grow or develop. And then we have this person here looking in this jar where they caught like a butterfly, right? It's almost like an energy of, are you trapped in this jar? Are you feeling like everybody's watching for your next move? Like, what are you going to do? Perhaps like if you are a widow or a widower, or someone who's lost someone very close, where the universe is like, you feel like everybody's eyes are on you. Like, what are you going to do next? Right? You're already beautiful and great and fabulous. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to be trapped in this sorrow? Or are you going to shine just as brightly? And I feel like also you might feel like you're trapped in this sorrow, right? Where the jar here is this sorrow that, you know, you're very much judging yourself. Why am I trapped in this? Why am I depressed? And I'm not a psychologist. This is not legal advice or anything like that. But you might be having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning, or going to work during the day, or, really pulling yourself up out of this. And there might be a sense of guilt, like, what are people going to think if I can't muscle through this? I think there's a lot of judgment you're pouring on yourself. And Spirit's saying, let's not do that. Like, you're not seeing the truth. The Ace of Swords in reverse, you're not seeing that truth about yourself. You are powerful. You are amazing. You do have the capacity to set yourself free and to be glorious and amazing. I mean, look at, by contrast, you could be glorious and share that love, that amazing knowledge and understanding that you have. You you're not this. You're not this suffering. That suffering is not all of who you are. You are also this. You are also this Ace of Cups. You are also all things beautiful and loving and wonderful, where you can not only just embrace, like she's almost embracing, right? Like the water's not even coming out of the cup here, right? She's like embracing the unknown, right? Her arms are splayed wide open and the water is like coming up over her like a gorgeous wave. And I'm feeling like a wave of grief and sorrow and pain, but also a wave of hope. Um, and it's really a powerful energy. There's just so much within you that, because of what you've been through, there's just so much that you can give to the world. And I think the universe is saying, look, don't, you're so down on yourself, but you are so powerful if you could just open your arms and embrace what is out there. The Knight of Cups right here, it's a slow process, right? Cups are emotion, they're love, they're um, just an emotional energy. And, there's waves, there's tumultuous backgrounds here where, it's not smooth sailing through calm seas. It's a tough road that you've had to plow here, but you're making progress. Slowly but surely, you're making progress. And it's slow, but it's steady. You're a knight, you're not a king, you're not a queen, but you're making it, right? 10 of Wands, the burden is heavy, the struggle is real, right? Universe is acknowledging that, like, I get it, it's real. Like, I'm not diminishing that. You've been through a lot. But again, Knight of Pentacles, you can slowly make emotional progress through your own, you can work through your own demons, but you can also lead others to their proper place, or to help them along their way. You have the key here. We got a key right there, right? You have the key because you've learned, you've seen it, you've experienced it, and you can help others make that slow and steady progress toward their own healing. And we see that here with the Seven of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, right? It is one small move toward a bigger picture. It is building for the future. And let's see, Spirit, what does that future look like for my pile one folks who have been through it, been through the fire, been through the struggle? What is the future for them, Spirit? What can they hope to see on the other side? We've got the Lovers. Look at that. Beautiful. If you're not in a relationship now, maybe there's a relationship coming down the pike for you. This could be the support of love, of those you love in your life, your friends, your family. This could be a new love coming in. It could be any number of things, but it's I'm seeing like an embrace there. You're not alone. By reaching out, by embracing your power, you're not alone. 10 of Cups, look at that. 10 of Cups we have more of a sunrise attitude here, more of a sunrise in the background, that beautiful sunshine. And 10 of Cups is emotional fulfillment. You're not only fulfilled yourself, but you're like leading others with you. You're bringing those around you. Your power is so intense that you're not just taking yourself, by embracing the lessons and the joy that can come on the other side of pain. You are bringing those you love with you. They're supporting you, but in turn, you're bringing them with you to a new level. And we have Temperance here. It's Sagittarius energy, yes, but It is an energy of like, look at this peace, this tranquility on the face of this individual. This is somebody who, um, has come to a balance of understanding, of a middle ground, of something where it's like, I don't know all the answers, but it's okay, right? Maybe this doesn't make sense. Maybe the things I went through don't make sense, and there's not some beautiful plan that just makes all this like, oh, the universe always has a plan. Maybe, but whatever it is, this person's at peace. And then we have the moon. I think right now you can't see it, but look at this. We have this very much this energy. We got this moon with the intertwining, right? Of energies, the temperance with the intertwining, the lovers with the intertwining, the 10 of cups pulling that person along with you. There's very much an energy here of what you have learned and experienced, you can very much transmute into something beautiful, to those around you, even if you can't see it yet. Bottom of the deck here, we've got Four of Swords. I talked about that earlier. Four of Swords. How do you get there? Through healing, through taking that time for yourself, putting down the armor, letting it out. All right. And there's like a little bird right here, right? A bird. It's like, I'm thinking like bluebird of happiness. Like once you lay down those swords, there can be a little bit of happiness that comes around. And look, there's a little bird friend. That bird friend maybe is somebody that's close to you, a friend, a family member, somebody that you count on, a therapist perhaps, that can really, speak to you and support you as you're going through this. And I'm thinking, um, I'm looking for some words of encouragement, Spirit. What messages, do we have? And I apologize, I didn't know this was going to go this way, because again, I didn't know this, deck was going to do this when I first pulled it. But I'm looking at some words of encouragement here. Spirit, what words of encouragement can you share, as pile one goes through it? Thank you, Spirit. What can we share as pile one is going through it? What can help them? Thank you. Okay, we got some good numbers here. Today sucked, but today I will protect my spirit. I will preserve my energy and not waste another minute worrying about things I cannot control. Today I choose to say no to all of that BS and yes to me. So take care of yourself first and foremost, right? I can navigate today with strength and grace. I can do this. I believe in myself. One bad day does not define me. Hell, two bad days do not define me. Bad days are just bad days. They're not a reflection of my self-worth or abilities. Not every day is going to be rainbows and sunshine, rainbows, color, right? Some days are going to be a shit storm and garbage and self-doubt and anxiety and panic attacks. Oh, and more anxiety. Great. A radical acceptance of the pain, the suffering, the feeling, not judging yourself, not being so hard on yourself, loving yourself. And by loving yourself, intrinsically loving those around you, which I know you want to do. I'm getting this sense, this very strong sense you're a good person. And that's why you're so hard on yourself, but you want to provide for your family, your friends, your loved ones. And until you nourish and accept yourself, you can't be this powerful person that you want to be. Anyway, sometimes I have a bad day and I feel bad about it. And then I remember what a badass I am and still kind of feel bad about it. But whatever. I'm a badass who just needs to feel bad today. Okay. Again, radical self acceptance. Not every day is going to be bad, one day at a time, right? You're going through it, and just one step at a time, you're going to make it there. What do we have here? Last one from Spirit. My strength is a fire that never goes out, even when it only feels like embers. Its power is there to carry me through the next day. And I think this is so beautiful, because here in all of these, we have this energy of today is bad, today, right? Going through it today. And then the last message is, yes, today might have sucked, but tomorrow, the next day, we can do it. And so I think Spirit is very strongly encouraging you to say, yes, there's black days and white days and all that, but the beauty is in the middle and how you work through it, and seeing the next day and accepting that yes, there's going to be bad days and it's going to suck, and it's okay. It's okay. It's really okay, because by accepting those things, those around you feel seen and feel heard and feel love coming from you, and you can be the light to guide them by setting yourself free to that next day. And I respect you, Pile One, so immensely. And my heart goes out to you for all the things you've been through. But I am 100% confident that you can turn that really bad thing that happened, or things that happened, into, um, positivity and something that can benefit those around you. I have no doubt. I believe in you, and I look forward to, seeing you next time. This is not legal advice, but much love, much respect. Bye. Welcome, pile two. If you chose the multicolored masquerade mask and the violet soul tarot, this is going to be your reading. I went ahead and pre-shuffled the oracle cards, and I'm going to go ahead and start laying them out here for you. I will tell you, as again, as I mentioned in the intro, that I wasn't really sure exactly what each pile was going to be or tell me, and I think I figured yours out. But let's go ahead and start flipping over here. And what I have determined, and you'll see as we go through this, it seems to me, pile two, that your pile is about your past, um, present slash future advice, and your outcome. So I'm going to explain all that a little bit further. Take it how it resonates, and if it doesn't resonate for you, that's okay. This may not be your pile, but it is beautiful energy, and I am excited to do this reading for you. We have some really beautiful cards today, and I will walk through them for you. Once again, this is not legal advice. I am your host, Timla, and we are going to go ahead and get started as soon as I lay out the last of these cards here. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely day, and I appreciate you joining me, liking, subscribing, all the fun stuff. All right, so looks like we have just about everything in frame. Very good. So let's go ahead and start the reading. Mind your ears. 3, 2, 1. All right. So as I indicated, this is going to represent your past energy, and this is your present to future energy slash advice and your outcome. So I will tell you also that as I get into this, I was having a difficult time getting started on this, and it occurred to me as I went through this again to prepare for this reading tonight that it is because this is the right time for it, and I'll tell you why. That is because Neptune, just this past couple hours, has gone direct in Pisces, and you had gotten Pisces, my dears. So it was confirmation to me that this is the right time to do this recording, and this is, in fact, on point for what we're going to be talking about. So when Neptune goes direct, by the way, in Pisces, it is an indication that, and I'm going to quote it here from what I read, you're tying up loose ends, understanding hidden truths, entering a new era of heightened intuition and authenticity. And that is perfect for what I'm seeing here for you, pile two. All right, so when we talk about this general energy, first of all, we have the butterflies, the beautiful butterflies in this card. This is one of my New Orleans cards here. You can see the butterflies sort of raising up out of this person and this person's throat chakra opening up, talking about speaking your truth. Number 22, which is, of course, that two energy, your double twos. Two is, like a wholeness, a completion. Whereas if two and two is four. And of course, that's a sense of stability, which comes into play later. But here you have just this almost aurora borealis background and these butterflies rising up as though the change in your voice, right? It's almost like your voice and what you're saying is changing. And since it's talking about speaking your truth, perhaps you weren't always being truthful with yourself. I'm not calling you a liar or anything like that, but it can be very challenging to be truthful with yourself and how you feel in situations, especially if you're a recovering people pleaser or a current people pleaser. But I'm seeing here that you, pile two, were in a place perhaps where you were saying what people wanted to hear more often than you care to admit, instead of owning your truth and speaking your truth. And it seems to me that you're coming out of an energy of that people pleasing mentality, of that um, false representation of yourself, and you're changing into somebody who is able to speak your truth, which I think is just beautiful. And you can see here in this card for past lessons, number 12, it says, I established my own rules with respect for everyone's boundaries. And this talks about that, again, recovering people pleaser energy. You can be a pleasant person and be friendly and everything else while still maintaining your boundaries. Again, this ties in into the advice going forward. This is really a progression, and it's slow and it's steady, as you'll see. But you're talking about learning from your past experience, actually letting go of that past and embracing who you are now. So I believe you're in the process, pile two, of really looking back, finishing up a period of looking backward, and not judging yourself harshly for prior decision making activities, but really coming to own it and not feel guilt, not feel shame, but feel secure in knowing that you've learned something and you've grown, and that's nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed or upset about. You can be frustrated, but it's really not going to do you any good, right? And I think you're really starting to understand that and moving into that speaking of your truth. The past is the past, right? So we have number 12, by the way. Number 12 is your hangman energy, which, after your hangman, you go to 13, which is the death and or rebirth card. And so this is a pause and a period where you are on your way to a substantial change. That the death card is actually not about death itself, but it's about the process of change, and more specifically about that very moment where you have the aha, the spark of, I know now what I need to do. And I think that's talking about everything else we're going to get to here. but you're coming up on that. You're coming, almost seeing you come out of this hermit energy, or not even hermit, but that hangman energy. Um, Although maybe you're also hermiting, number 5 energy there. You could also be a Virgo, but not necessarily. It's just take it how it resonates. But we also see the sun kind of peeking out from behind the book here, and that evil. I'm looking at almost like an evil eye, perhaps an eye of Horus here. So maybe Egypt is significant to you, or some of the Egyptian gods or goddesses speak to you specifically. Maybe you just have a cat, I'm hearing. But you have the sun sort of peeking out behind this, like a rising knowledge, and coming out of the past and starting to emerge from this hangman or this paused energy. Then I'm seeing reproach. Now, this reproach says to me, like, there was a sense, like we're talking about here, of almost like a self-loathing for the what you view as like the mistakes you made in the past, the people-pleasing behaviors you made in the past, the things you did that you feel like you sold yourself out for other people, that you kind of knew in your gut that this wasn't right for you, or you it wasn't where you needed to be, or what you need to be doing, and you did it anyway. You said yes to things you should have said no to, or vice versa. And you are very, or have been very entangled or intertwined in your mind, caught up in some of this self reproachment from these past decisions. But I'm seeing where you're starting to detach from that a little bit, and you're starting to go those separate ways, and you're separating the past decisions from the movement forward. And again, getting to that speaking of the truth. So right now, in the immediate past, you have been very much coming almost like a 9 of wands energy, where you're a wounded warrior. You've been through it. You're starting to recognize that you've suffered some damage along the way. But the 10, the coming to fruition, the end of a cycle, that wheel of fortune is turning toward the world card. You are moving forward in a positive direction. You're coming out of that into like a 10 energy, a 10 of pentacles, a 10 of cups. You're really coming into something very positive here. And you're learning to love and forgive yourself and trust that you've got this. And I think that's just beautiful. But it's very much that hangman, like just on the cusp of a major, major change. And then we have here wonders. In addition to being a gorgeous card, we see the amethyst there, which might be a significant stone to you. You may actually have amethyst around you right now. I believe it's a stone of wisdom, if I'm not mistaken, and intuition. And this card speaks to a belief that anything is possible. Once you sort of let go of the chains of your past decisions and the guilt that you might carry, and the self-loathing and reproachment you may carry about those past decisions, anything is possible. New worlds can open up. And then, this is taking us into this sextile, which has harmony, ease, and compatibility. You're coming into this energy of, let's see, it's like using your innate gifts. There's a fire and air balance here. The air, the wind feeds the flame. It's really sort of picking up into itself, and it is on page 99 of the book about this, by the way, which 99 adds up to 18, which 1 and 8 is again 9. So again, that's at 9 energy we just talked about, that nearing completion. It's here also in our sextile card. And then the fourth house card here, family, roots, foundation. First of all, I think this is something that's shaking you at your very core, at your foundation. This is a crucial issue about who you are. And I'm also seeing, like, this almost looks like a key, an old school key hole, where there's like a new door opening to you, and you can see it's almost like straight up and down, like a keyhole would be, but not quite. And that's again more of that progressing energy. You could also be watching this, I don't know, at about 5:30, 6 o'clock at night or in the morning. I don't know. But the fourth house, again, is about foundation and your family and your house. And so that's also things, it makes me think of like a tower energy. And it could be that your tower is turning from that change energy to the flip of the more of a stable building going on there. And it could be also that the people pleasing behavior could very well have been in your household, whether it's with a spouse or another family member. Perhaps you've been not really being able to speak your truth to your mother, your father, a sibling, a cousin who's living in your guest bedroom for way too long, and you just need him to get out, and you let him stay there, and you need him out, right? That seems like a very specific message, but maybe it's for you. It says to me there's a very strong possibility that it's not just your personal foundation; it could also be the foundation of your home. Okay, so it talks about, this is kind of an emperor energy, the ruler of your domain, about tradition. So also very important that a lot of people have a lot of great traditions around the holidays. You could also, because I'm thinking about the holidays and the tradition, this could be a very important season for you. I know everybody feels some kind of way about holidays. It could be any kind of way, but there's usually some kind of strong feeling. And it just makes me wonder if there's a lot of pressure being put on you during the holiday season to accommodate other people, whether it's pushing yourself to travel where you are either strapped for cash or strapped for time and you just can't make everybody happy, and it's kind of pushing you to a breaking point where you just are ready to like and say, I've had enough, I'm not doing this anymore, I need to watch out for me and take care of myself. um, that could very well be the trigger, this holiday period setting you off. Of course, this is a timeless reading, so take it as it resonates, but there could be something, bottom line, going on externally in your life that is pushing you to make the change. It could even be something at work where you feel like you're not being appreciated at work, and there's this major project that you just finished and you're not getting the acclaim that you feel like you deserve, and that just sets you off. Like, why did I bother doing all of this if nobody's going to care? Just putting that out there. Now we have this immediate, we'll say the immediate future, and before I do that, I'll talk about how these are connected with the energy. And we have this gorgeous mystical card here, um, and this card speaks to a return to nature, which I'm taking as like a return to your natural self, your true self, honoring who you are as a person and what your particular needs are, what your limits are, really getting in tune with the natural rhythm of your body and of your life, perhaps developing a routine. um, you're coming into like a synchronization, in a way you're getting into a flow, also very on par with this Neptune coming direct energy. It's buttoning things up and getting more stable. And it, by the way, it's a 14-year cycle with Neptune. So maybe there's something that's been going on in your life for 14 years in particular that is changing, or maybe you find yourself being contacted by somebody you haven't heard from in 14 years, or you're kind of seeing where you were 14 years ago. There were issues pending then that you're coming to again in a new perspective. But the overall energy is self-respect, self-honor, and following your intuition, trusting yourself. In fact, she almost has like a it's like a skeptical look in her eye, like she's kind of had enough. Like, you want me to do what now? No, thank you. I'm good. I've got my own business to attend to here. Okay, so we talked about the Pisces energy being tied to the Neptune transit. Pisces, again, you could be a Pisces. Don't necessarily have to be. Could be a water sign. Again, not critical. Could just like fish. But Pisces talks about a psychic ability, intuitive abilities, being dreamy. It could be that you're pursuing, as part of this coming into the truth of who you are and living your truth and not just saying yes, and accepting what people are demanding of you. You are able to pursue maybe some new things that you've dreamed about doing. Maybe there's a hobby that you're interested in, like, I don't know, knitting or scuba diving or paragliding, any number of things that could be interesting to you that you felt like, oh, I can't do that because I'm using all my vacation days for traveling to see so and so because I need to see them every now and again, or I'd rather be using it to go snorkeling off the Keys. uh, it could be anything, but there's a dream that you have that is going to be able to become more real as you develop your rhythm, as you honor yourself. And again, I'm seeing this full moon is coming to fruition. It's been a process, right? This has been an ongoing process for some time where you are, well, it's this culmination, release, illumination. Again, you're getting like a level of clarity, that illumination's right there, and releasing the past. And it's culminating, it's to a crescendo. It's a crescendo to something amazing. The beat's going to drop, if you will, and you can almost hear it. And I think that's wonderful. I think in your knowing that something is on the horizon, whatever that may be for you. It could be love, could be career, could be changing locations. You might be considering a move. You might be considering going back to college or going to college in the first place. Maybe you're going to get a GED. If that never materialized for you before, maybe you're changing your mind on something that maybe you were kind of fixated on. But whatever it is, we talked about here with the Pisces energy having that dream and that fulfillment. And look what we have here: make a wish. This, you know, it's again this energy of, you have a dream, you have a wish, you have something that you are looking forward to or have been looking forward to for some time, and it's coming true. And but it's only going to come true if you continue the process, if you move out of that hangman energy. That's what I'm hearing from spirit. You've got to be willing to have and accept that clarity and not just leave yourself stuck in this prior energy. Have this, take the step, take the leap, make that full move off, that fool card. Start that new journey, that new cycle. Do something different. Follow that dream. Climb every mountain, ford every stream. Right. Follow every rainbow, until you find your dream. Sorry, I had to finish that. But I'm seeing just again, a cycle here with the way the stars are lining up. It's almost like things are going to almost take on a life of their own. Like once you make that first step, it's going to build upon itself. And you know, what is it? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. That's what I'm feeling is going on here. Is like you just take that first step, and it will become easier and easier as you go along. All right, your challenge might be limiting beliefs, though, right? And in this in this card, I'm seeing two foxes and the number seven. Now, foxes, of course, are known, or at least allegedly known, for their cleverness. And I'm getting a very specific message on this. You may be somebody who is so not just self aware, but really good at self deception. And let me explain. Before, as I indicated, I was getting this energy of people pleasing, saying no when you really want to say yes, or vice versa. And then it's like you were convincing yourself. For example, if you said yes, I'll do the task or the project or whatever, and you really didn't want to do it at first, but you said yes anyway, you actually are really talented at convincing yourself after the fact that that is what you actually wanted to do. Like, no, 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 it was actually fine. I did want to do this project, so it's cool. And it comes, I think, from a sense of like guilt and shame, or a lack of self acceptance, or you can have limiting beliefs in terms of respecting your limitations. But I'm seeing this more in like you are actually outfoxing yourself. You are going from thing to thing here, clever move to clever move in such a way that it looks like a beautiful rainbow. Um, but the reality is that number seven, there's a giant struggle, a change, a battle, right? Seven of wands, seven of swords. That seven of swords also speaks about like a something in the shadows, something sneaky going on. And I'm seeing it. It's not that somebody else is being sneaky with you. It's that you could almost thwart your own blessings, your own potential, because of how good you are at seeing the best in everything, and then convincing yourself that what you want to be true is true. And in doing so, you're not living your actual truth. You're just doing a really good job of camouflaging that truth. And it says here, I accept and balance all my thoughts. And I think that spirit is giving you that advice of you don't have to feel bad for wanting to be, for example, a good person, as you might see it, right? And take on someone else's burden, right? But you can accept that it's okay that I feel like maybe that was a really silly decision. I shouldn't have taken on that project. It was just one too many things, or I should have cut off that relative a long time ago, or I simply can't sustain the demands that are being put upon me in my romantic relationship, perhaps. And that's okay. Instead of like covering it up real nicely, it's okay to accept that you really feel the way you feel. And I know it sounds silly, but some of us have had a very hard time in our lives really being at peace with saying, hey, you know what? That actually makes me angry. That actually makes me sad. That actually frustrates me that I'm extending myself to somebody and they're not being grateful about it. Or and I don't mean that you should demand gratefulness or gratitude. That's not what I'm saying. It's just you can have legitimate emotions, but I feel like you stuff them down. Historically, you have stuffed them down and fought them back. But this is the advice from spirit that I'm getting is stop trying to outfox yourself. Accept and balance. Accept that it's okay. Accept that you um, you feel the way you do, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. You can transmute those feelings into actions then that are consistent with who you are. But until you acknowledge and admit who you are and what you really want and what you really feel, how can you possibly act consistently with that? If you've had a dream or a wish or a something you saw in your future that you kind of have just been telling yourself, that's silly, I'm going to put that away, that's child's play, why would I ever do that, no, that's never going to work, right? If you've been saying that to yourself and just shoving that down, the first step into your future is going to be saying, you know what, maybe it is a little silly that I like reading tarot cards. You know what I mean? For me, maybe it is a little like out of character, or people might think it's weird. But you know what? I don't. I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to accept it and balance that with what do I enjoy, and this is my life, and I want to live it the way I want to live it. That's just using me as an example, right? It could be whatever you have in your mind. Maybe you always wanted to write a book, or learn to play the guitar, or study a foreign language, or perhaps you wanted to make a trek into Antarctica for some reason I don't fully understand. But maybe that speaks to you, and people have told you along the way, well, that's just silly, and you've said it to yourself so many times. Well, yeah, they're so right. That is silly. I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to start that business. That's ridiculous. I've worked so hard to build this particular career. Why would I shift then to like a totally different one? Um, but first, accepting that that is what you want and that's okay. That is how you can then move forward toward what you want. I'll get off my soapbox now because that will take you to happiness, right? Um, Sunshine, rainbows, gorgeousness, the ocean, all kinds of wonderful things. I won't even start to talk about what dolphins do in their spare time. But this card, for our purposes, is happiness, right? And this message of guidance, by the way, is also 36, which, 3 and 6 is 9, right? We talked about that 9. So you are finally starting to come out of that. Again, we're moving in that 9 direction. I wouldn't be surprised if when I pull the tarot here shortly, we start to see a lot more of that guidance. And it's also talking about intuition and getting that sort of, I'm almost seeing like a high five, like between like you and the universe, right? Where the universe is saying, hey, pile two, you can do the thing, set your mind to the thing that you really want, own that you want that, accept that you want that, and let's go, right? Let's do it. Let's do the thing and get the stuff. And that intuition is guiding you. Follow that is what I'm saying. Follow that, right? Dolphins following that to happiness. Mm. And another thing that came up when I was looking at this and the overall energy is this card, mystical. Immediately in my head, I started hearing Love is Mystical by the Cold War Kids. It talks about love can break the chains. In this case, I'm seeing a love and acceptance of yourself. That love is mystical, and it leads to, I'm seeing like a bright, beautiful future here where your wish will be granted should you choose to accept it. And that's entirely up to you. But what I'm seeing here is spirit is going to put that opportunity in front of you, is going to give you the intuitive push that will tell you exactly um, what is in the right course for you. And if you choose to accept that, then there are great things ahead. So let me go ahead and start by cutting the deck. And I got to tell you, I love this deck. I had to find it on eBay because it's not being sold anymore. It's by a Ukrainian artist. It's called, again, the Violet Soul Tarot. You'll see how beautiful it is. But bottom of the deck, we have the Six of Pentacles. Now, first of all, can we just talk about the colors in this deck? Fantastic. But we've I've never seen the Six of Pentacles done this way. Normally, you see three people in like that Three of Cups energy, but it's almost like the moon is like, and what looks to be maybe Jupiter back here um, is almost like the seventh pentacle and the eighth pentacle, but not quite yet. Like this is the balance here. You're balancing yourself out, and you're making this change with the moon. The moon signifies a lot of change, Cancerian energy, but um, making a lot of changes, and then reaching greatness. Because if this is Jupiter, that's Jupiter is the king of the gods. He is the second largest object in our solar system. Um, Really a powerful entity. Jupiter talks about expansion, about growth in a philosophical session or sense. So what I'm seeing is as you come into balance with the different aspects of yourself and have that justice and fairness with yourself, you can really change and move into great things. So that just further reiterates what we were talking about. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the deck and get some cards, and we're going to ask Spirit for some follow-up questions. I have not pre-written these questions. I really didn't even know where this reading was going to go before, I don't know, an hour and a half ago. But now that we have an idea, I'm going to ask some targeted questions. And let's see what, I believe that was 2. Maybe it's 3. We'll go one more just to be safe. Okay, and getting it all together. I just like to have it good and mixed up for you. All right, very good. So Spirit, let's go ahead and start with what is pile 2 feeling right now about what we just talked about? We have the 8 of Cups. Okay. So 8 of Cups normally talks about regret. So perhaps that discussion the whole speech I just gave on um, turning your back on things that did not work for you in the past, and maybe having some regrets about the decisions you've made before really spoke to you, or maybe you feel a little called out by that. First of all, that was not my intention at all to make anybody feel bad. If this resonates with you, great. If it's not making you happy, then go to pile 1, go to pile 3, go somewhere else entirely. But I hope that you can take something positive from this. It could also be that you are, again, we have right here, look, put this down right there. This person, she's carrying a wand, right? And what I'm seeing here is turning away from maybe the past, the things of the past that weren't working, and going toward that wish. Remember, we had the Make-A-Wish card, and it was very wand-like there. Just take that. Just show you, refresh your recollection. This is not legal advice, but it can't hurt to refresh recollection. Where are you? Ah, there it is. There we go. We got our wand there and our wand there. Now, I'm not going to point that every time we have a wands card, but so bear with me. But it's the fact that she's carrying a wand, which is not something I normally see in 8 of Cups. All right, so can I get some clarification though on the Eight of Cups? How is pile two, um, how are they going to, woo, all right, before I look at it, um, respond, if at all, to what we've talked about here? The Wheel of Fortune. Things are turning in your favor, pile two. What did we talk about? What did I say earlier? The Wheel of Fortune is turning and taking you to the world, taking you to that cycle, taking you to completion. And I'm also seeing here a very like um, Rumpelstiltskin vibe, right? Where it's like spinning hair or straw. It was straw, I think, into gold. You know, you're turning things that maybe you didn't care for in yourself in the past into something golden, something amazing. I'm also hearing that song Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. So maybe that's something you like also. No shame. Bottom of the deck, look at that. 10 of Cups. Didn't I say we were going to head into 10 of Cups energy? That if you could move past that, the regret and into the truth of it and make that change, you were going to get 10 of Cups energy. Bam, rainbows, cups, happiness. Spirit is on point tonight. I got to tell you. And basically, that's all we need. No, I'm kidding. We'll keep going. So, what concrete actions, if any, let's get a couple cards on what concrete actions, if any, pile two can take to help make this change. I can get this. Yep, you get. My goodness, that was just terrible. All right, thank you. So what concrete actions can pile two take? And by the way, I don't normally try to read in the reverse. If things pop out in the reverse, so be it. But just felt the need to say that for some reason. What concrete actions can they take? Thank you, Spirit. Justice, another major arcana. Let me get one more on that before we start looking at that further. What concrete action, Spirit? One more. Oh, there we go. The Queen of Pentacles. Oh, I'm loving it. Bottom of the deck, Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so let's walk through these. Okay, so Justice is affiliated with Libra, air signs generally. So you could be a Libra or air sign, or maybe not. It's just energy. Um, but she's got, you know, the sword of truth in one hand, and of course the scales of justice in the other. So, you know, again, this is talking about bringing things into balance, right? We saw in that Six of Pentacles, the first card that I looked at the bottom of the deck. When you bring things into balance, you can start to move forward. So for you, I'm seeing almost like this veil in the background, this red veil. And perhaps this was covering the moon before and now it's slipping. So it's almost like you can start to see the change you need to make coming up. And that change is going to help you see what is out of balance and what you need to work on. So it could be, I hate to say like work life balance, but it's something that you need to make even and just within yourself. And I'm going to follow up on this a little bit, but um, it's so first step is I think acknowledging and seeing. That's what I'm seeing. Seeing the change that needs to be made, seeing the imbalance, right? Then Queen of Pentacles is coming into your power. You know, this is very new moon energy. It's not full moon. It's new moon. I think it's supposed to be more black like than, you know, this one, which is more full moon. Which again, if you look, we have full moon, new moon, like a full cycle, right? We talked about that in the, hold on, wait for it. This card, right? The cycling, right? You're coming full circle. You're making the change, and the change you're making is going to be a change where you're focusing with this Queen of Pentacles on a fresh new start, a new perspective on things, on how glorious and beautiful and wonderful you are, um, and how successful you can be, even if no one is with you. The Queen of Pentacles is someone, she thrives on her own. She's in charge. She's ruling her kingdom with fairness and egalitarianism and other long words as well. But you know, she's also graceful. I mean, she's got this flower in her hand. She's looking great, beautiful dress. She's attracting the animals, very, you know, Snow White energy. Um, you know, it could also mean I'm thinking like getting help, maybe getting some guidance from a wise individual around you, maybe someone who has tread this path before and can help lead you through this cycle. So again, acknowledging first of all that change needs to be made, that you're out of balance, then maybe getting some guidance toward how you can become your best, most powerful self. And then here we with the Ace of Pentacles. First of all, I think it's important that you levitate. Oh, sorry, that you levitate, right? Just kidding, of course. But Ace of Pentacles is a new opportunity, a solid offer, something that is coming in, and I think this is great. I think something on its own is going to float into your life. Come forward. You do these things. You accept. You work toward balance. The universe will present, as I said earlier, and Spirit indicated. If you accept uh, this intuitive sense that you're getting about what to do, and work with your, and not only elders, but those who have tread before you, others with wisdom, you will find that a solid opportunity comes to you. And you don't have to really work for it as hard. And you'll know it's the right thing as you step into it, because it won't feel so hard. Like maybe every day when you go into work, or you go on a date with the person you're thinking about, or whatever it is you're doing that you need to change or feel like you need to change, like that is something that it's not going to be as hard for you when you get in line with what you really want. Now, I will say right underneath this, as you saw when I was picking up this card, this one felt the need to pop out. And this is the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords speaks to nightmares, right? I feel like this new moon back here um, could be blocked by your fears and overthinking things instead of following that intuition. And you're turning your back. See that there? She's turning her back. She's got that one pentacle. You might turn your back on this one pentacle offer, okay, if you are so stuck in your head that you overthink it to death, that you work in a place of fear instead of a place of love and intuitive beliefs. And then underneath this, we have a Six of Swords. So this is a lot of swords energy between the Justice and these cards here. Um, this is an energy of moving forward. And you can, I think, move past this energy should you choose to do so. Should you stand up for yourself and maybe even leave those behind who would hold you back and move towards something good. All right, Spirit, let's find out what is the nature of the thing that is on pile two's mind. Is it career? Is it love? Is it some other aspect? What indicators can we get of that? I'm gonna get a couple of these. Let's see. Oops. Okay, look at that. Is that a couple? We got a couple. All right. We've got 10 of Pentacles, excuse me, the 10 of Cups again popping out. All right. So your home life is very important to you. You got a family there. So maybe there's things at home that you feel like need to change. Maybe you feel like your partner's not appreciating you as much as he or she could, or they could, whatever the non-gender specific person or persons you are with might be. And you're looking for more of an equality in the relationship. You could see each person there having a child. So that's more of a splitting like of the duties of this equality. And if it's a family issue like that, then, again, bringing in the balance would be sharing how you feel, sharing that you're not feeling appreciated, talking to maybe, an elder, a therapist, someone wise, a grandmother, a very, the aunt that comes to Thanksgiving with 5 bottles of wine. We love her. And then the opportunity will be there for you if you kind of let go, right? Maybe if you stop taking on as many household tasks, it will give your partner the opportunity to step up. Just some thoughts I'm hearing from Spirit. Thoughts I'm hearing. It's not even words. Anyway, and then we have here the two. Oh my goodness, the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles speaks to balance. It speaks to trying to juggle. I mean, look at her. First of all, she's got 4 arms. Let's just talk about that. So she's outright just doing too much. Too much is happening. There's a lot going on here. Okay, and she's working a book over here. She's, looking at, like, got some kind of galaxy looking thing over here. So she's maybe balancing learning with maybe some spirituality, the powers of the ocean, and the pull of the tides of the moon against the pull of Jupiter here, expansion and growth versus and change. And then here we've got also on top of all these things going on, a shooting star in the background, right? Making a wish. Oh my goodness, making a wish. Okay. Maybe now's the time for you to make a wish. Put your wish, a hint about your wish in the comments. Don't actually put the wish itself, because I hear that's bad juju. But look at this. These pentacles are almost balanced, right? They're not completely out of balance. There are some cards where they're like really like way off. Some decks have it that way. This one is not as off balance, so I don't think it's as big of a change as you're making it out to be, or that you might think it's going to be. So I'm going to put that under here with the 10 of Cups. And then here we have the Queen of Wands at the bottom. Now the Queen of Wands, she's different from the Queen of Pentacles. She also obviously rules her kingdom. We've got a cat here. Talked about maybe you have a cat. She is, Saturn energy. She's fierce and mystical almost. Oh my goodness, mystical. Holy cow. All right, I got to do it. I got to do it because it's killing me. Where's my mystical cards? Where'd it go? Well, anyway, it'll come around. The point is, love is mystical, and so is your future. There we go. And look at how similar the color scheme is on that, and just the figures. Witch hat almost on each of them. I mean, that's not a witch hat. That's something more, I think, Asian, or Eurasian. But here, I mean, look at that. That's reiterating to me that love is mystical and you are mystical, and whatever you are wishing for, you can manifest for yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Magician come out very soon. All right. So, oops. All right. Let us see, Spirit, what advice, if any. Okay, no, I'm going to go back. If this person in pile 2 is not concerned about a domestic situation, like a household situation or family situation, what would the alternative be? What are the other pile 2 people thinking about? All right, we have Ace of Cups, the Magician. Didn't I just say I feel like the Magician was going to come out? Oh my God, I can't. And the Four of Pentacles. All right, bottom of the deck, Knight of Swords. All right, let's talk. Let's talk, people. Get yourself a cup of something. Let's talk. An Ace of Cups, if you will. Okay. All right. So you have a lot of love to give. If your situation, this could also relate to things if it's a marital or family situation, but for those who are looking for a romantic relationship, it seems to me that you have a lot of love to give, and you're looking good. I'm seeing these lily pads. It's very unusual, I think, to see lily pads in this kind of body of water. So things are a little different than maybe you thought they would be in your love life right now. But you're feeling the pull of the moon, the change in the air, and you're and oh, look, we have those two dolphins again. Look at in the background there. Happiness. Okay. Maybe you feel like you've left happiness behind and it's going to take some kind of miracle to make your wishes come true. And to that end, we have the magician manifesting that which you want, manifesting um, something loving, something different. Maybe you've been hurt before. I mean, everybody's been hurt in love, but like maybe there's something that like caused you to be put off love for a very long time, or you're in separation from somebody in particular. Either way, it's been in a stagnancy that back in that hangman energy. But what I'm seeing here is this looks to me more like it could be a Mercury or a Venus, right? Just because of whatever filter they use when they look at those planets with the telescopes. Um, but if it's Mercury energy, that would be energy of communication, really coming in and I think coming in on its own. That could be communication, could be love if it's Venus. You could also be again Libra or Taurus are ruled by Venus. And trying to think of what Mercury rules. It's not Aries. It'll come to me. Anyway, the point is, it could be communication coming in here. It could be new love, or even with Taurus, a sense of stability of home life being more stable. And this is the Four of Pentacles. Now, the Four of Pentacles again traditionally would refer to not letting something go, holding on to something maybe that doesn't even suit you, or even it could even be greedy. But in this card, that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a strength here. Even though I know that this person is like looking longingly at this piece of jewelry, and maybe putting it in her treasure trove there. Um, First of all, it could be that you are looking to build some sense of wealth and security. But I'm also looking at her in the mirror, and that looks like when I'm flexing and I'm showing off my biceps and all that. And it could be you're not just manifesting in a metaphysical sense, but you are putting in the work. Okay, you're putting in the work. You're not giving up. And with this Knight of Swords, something is coming in fast. Truth is coming in fast. You'll see, what I'm seeing generally here is once you take that step, once you make that move, things are going to change pretty swiftly for you. Um, it's also, we talked about this sort of cape looking thing, this veil in the background. We see sort of a similar pattern there with the cape this gentleman is wearing. He's going into battle on his Pegasus, and um, I mean, just coming in with the sword of truth. I don't know what else to say about that. He's coming in fast. He's coming in furious. All right, let's find out what the likely outcome is, Spirit. What is the outcome? Or really anything else you want to say, Spirit? Thank you again for joining me. I hope this is speaking to you. If it is, if there's something that has resonated with you, please leave me like, comment, share. It really means a lot to me. The Emperor. I think we talked about that Emperor energy earlier, didn't we? We sure did. When we were talking about the home. I remember that very specifically. All right, let's take a look. All right. Anything else on this, please? What is the outcome? All right. This is the Eight of Wands. One more, please. One more, please. Okay. And I actually saw this earlier, but I didn't pull it. Okay. And oh, I can't. This card stalks me. If you've watched me for other readings, this is the Page of Pentacles, people. I told you this card stalks me. Sorry, it's here for you now too. I take that. All right, hold on. Woo! Okay, so the Emperor is associated with Aries, and sorry about that Ric Flair woo I just did. Anyway, the Emperor is associated with Aries, right? Aries is a fire sign, and so are the Wands, right? We have an Eight of Wands, Five of Wands. By the way, you could have been born April of '85. I know that's really specific, but maybe that speaks to you, or um, May of '84. April 8th could be important. April 5th, May 8th, May 4th, August 5th, August 4th. Those Any of those dates could be significant to you, or not. But these are all fire energy, right? Fire is about action. It's about doing the thing. The Emperor in particular is this strong masculine energy. I'm not talking about gender, physically speaking. It's this sense of having having control, having a sense of confidence, of stepping into your power, which is very on par with this Queen of Pentacles that we saw, the Queen of Wands. You know, all those elements are there, and we've got a Phoenix coming in here. You know, this is a Phoenix. Now, we'll say, if you're familiar at all with what the Phoenix energy is, the Phoenix has to burn down to be reborn. And this Phoenix looks like it's coming in for a landing. So this says to me that there's a sense of stability and confidence that may be shaken when this lands and burns, but it will rise again. It's about that change. That's what I'm seeing. It's like right now you are in a good place, but you are going to be in an even better place, right? And we see almost like a sunset here in the background too, which to me is talking about change, right? Maybe you're going to go through, I'm sorry to say, um, well, I'm not sorry to say it's going to have a good outcome, right? So, but it could be that the sun is setting on one period of your life, and that may cause um, some darkness and some difficulty. But there is, of course, on the other side, a sunrise, right? And we talked about this happening very quickly. Eight of Wands is one of the fastest cards in the deck. This is quick movement, quick change, right? Right on par with our Knight of Swords. This is very much things happening fast. Could be communication coming in fast, but something is changing very quickly. And then we have the Five of Wands. Now, the Five of Wands is talking usually about struggle, of fight, but I'm not seeing that so much in this card because these ladies do not look like they're fighting with each other. They actually look more like a team of women that are supporting each other, like they've got their wands up, and maybe there are two other people, like people coming at them, and they're standing together and using their powers as a group, a trio, you know, to work together. I'm hearing like body, mind, soul, right? That the three parts of you coming together are an insurmountable force, that you are a force to be reckoned with. And no matter who's coming at you, no matter what your challenges are, you standing strong in your power and or with people who can support you and guide you is going to help you overcome some of these things. And then we have this very peaceful stalker page of pentacles, right? This person, she is so calm by comparison. This to me is the calm before the change, before the beautiful thing coming along. This is learning, this is growing, this is taking a small step in a direction, a gradual change. So I think things will very gradually, the change will come in fast. By the way, bottom of the deck felt like it needed to show itself again, this Nine of Swords. So keep that in mind. You may be overthinking this to death. Um, but it seems like even though the change will come in fast, the building after the change may seem slow, but it is beautiful and it is in the right direction. Let's go ahead and get some messages here from Spirit. I'm feeling this deck right, Cha? And let us find out. It just seemed right, I feel like, with the purple. I didn't even remember it had that, but it just felt right. Let's find out what messages Spirit would like to share with you, whether that's Spirit in the universal sense or your guiding ancestors or spirits. By the way, thank you to all those who participated in today's reading. Let's see what guidance or words of wisdom there are here. All right. Let me get just a couple more. One or two more, please. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Spirit. Oh, bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck. You're not my master, my life, my rules. I am unchained. Wow. What do we talk about with that changeover, right? You are having a moment, right, where you snap, it breaks, things change, right? This is more confirmation of that. Also, it's number three energy. Three is going to be your Empress, which is the partner of the Emperor. So almost by letting some things go and relaxing into who you are going to get to the other side of that. So I think that's fantastic. We'll just slap that right there. All right, what do we have over here? Hazy Illusions, number 40. I'm going to look at these on the whole and then we'll talk about them. Confinement, Oh my goodness, barred from entry. The Crows, not the band, although it could be. Oh my goodness. Huh. Okay. Um, chaos, sorrow, madness, falsehood, agony, and struggle. Boy, this is spirit. You're just so chipper today. Um, let's see. We have misleading mask, bogus, shading true self. And I need to point out that in misleading, it's missing the N. So it's really badly misleading in that it's misleading. So that's how misled we all are here. We have charming chat, inspiring news, enchanted cat, inner magic, divine force, fortune's protection, barriers against darkness, spiritual energy, mystic power. Number 5, that's hierophant energy, mysticism, the tempest. Okay, maybe you like Shakespeare, I don't know, or butterflies, or just storms. That's 43, which 4 is emperor energy, 3 is that empress energy. So maybe that spoke to you when we were talking about that. Number 7, of course, 4 and 3 is 7, which is that struggle energy. Sacred blossom, which kind of looks that the lotus very much looks like our lily pad there. So it seems to me that wants to live there. Then we have auroral dream, ether dance. What did I say about that card looking very auroral? Um, oh, which one was that? Oh man, I think was it this one? Was auroral? Anyway, point is, circling back all the way to the beginning, 35, March 5th, May 3rd again. Um, another butterfly, change, a lot of change energy here. We saw even the butterflies at the beginning with that butterflies at the beginning. Yes, there it is, the aurora and the butterflies. Bam. And then we have prayers denied, divine wrath, unforgiven sins. Number 4, emperor energy. Let's talk about it. And I'm about out of water, so here we go. Appreciate your patience. All right, so struggle, man. You're riding the struggle bus and you're riding it hard. There is a lot of dreaming going on, but there's also a lot of but there's also this feeling of confinement, right? Look at this. We have chains, confinement, gates, right? You feel, there's harbingers of bad faith. Oh, but we got death and rebirth. We talked about death and rebirth, right? That was when I said you would come out of the hangman energy into the death rebirth card, number 13. And then we have chaos, sorrow, madness, falsehood, agony. So cat here, cat here. I said twice yet now that we've talked about cats. I don't normally do that in these readings, but maybe cats are very significant to you. Um, I'm hearing like maybe you just lost a pet cat. Don't take that if it doesn't resonate, but it just felt interesting. Anyway, so you're dealing with a lot of the struggle of your past. I'm seeing past energy where you were having this feeling of like this tempest, right? You feel like you're a butterfly trying to rise up, right? You're struggling, and you've got in the back of your mind these feelings of sorrow and madness, and that maybe you have your prayers denied. Like you've wished for certain things, but you're not actually taking the steps to change them. I'm gonna switch this around here. Put that next to the other cat. Seems right. But there is a dream that you have. There is a goal that you have. There is something. If you can be honest with yourself, this masked energy, there will be inspiring news. We talked about something coming in quickly, but it's almost like you're waiting for a sign, right? It says omen here. You're waiting for a sign that this isn't just an illusion, that this is something that actually can happen. And what I'm seeing is like a rebirth with this sacred blossom. There is a change on the horizon if you can get past this, if you can unchain yourself and come out of the confinement and go into the place that you feel can't be there for you. So, on the whole, pile 2, thank you so much for joining me. I'm seeing really great things in your future. I'm seeing inner forces. You have the power within you to make the change. If you can forgive yourself and let some decisions that you've made in the past go and accept that that's okay, and balance out those feelings in your life and the needs for yourself in your life. Maybe say no when you mean no, and yes when you mean yes, and stop being dishonest with yourself. And I say that with love and light. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me. Please leave a like, comment, share, and I will see you next time on This Is Not Legal Advice. Bye. Hello, pile 3. If you chose this beautiful blue masquerade mask and the Tarot of Owls, this is your reading. I am Tinla, and this is not legal advice. Thank you so much for joining me. And what I'd like to do is go ahead and start our spread here with our oracle cards that I have pulled for you and done my research on. So let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully you will resonate with either side A or side B. You may resonate with both though, because this is a deck that I found a lot of mirroring in. We'll get into that shortly. Anyway, so for person A, we have, and again, this is supposed to be in honor of my trip to New Orleans, which by the time you're seeing this has already happened. but I appreciate you joining me nonetheless. So this is what we have for side A, person A, which may be you in this reading. Hard to say. We'll figure it out. And for person B, the person on your mind, we have these cards here. All right, we'll just go ahead and pull these over because I have to get it centered or else I will lose my mind. All right. All right. So if this sounds like you, like I said, as we go forward, this is your reading. If not, check out piles 1 or 2. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. And this is the connecting energy between you. Now, mind you, this could be friends, family, someone romantic on your mind. It's entirely dependent on who you are and what's going on with you. So for person A, we start off with Marie Laveau, a classic figure in tarot and in, of course, Cajun mythology and a lot of the practice of uh, the arts, if you will. And she is number one. She is the power card. Number one, of course, is the magician in the traditional tarot, and she was a magician in her own right, a majestic figure of female power. Not that you have to be a female if you are this side. I mean, again, it is immaterial to me what you identify with as gender. That's up to you. But it is a symbol here of power and of not getting bogged down in the day to day activities, but seeing more of a bigger, like a bigger picture, generally speaking. We also have here duality. I create a new inner balance and learning. And this learning card is talking about shedding negative past experiences and starting anew, which I found interesting because we have our snakes here in this duality card. And when you're talking about starting anew, a snake is a really great example of that because, of course, snakes shed their skin to, grow as they do through their lives, get rid of the old and with the new. I'd like to also point out we have 1 for power, 11 here for duality, and a 4 here for learning. So a lot of times, when we see 11, like 1 we said as a magician, right? 11 is going to be your justice card. And then 4, you're going to have your emperor card. So we have this justice, which is Libra, Aries, which is your emperor card. So you have like this balancing of the opposites. But of course, 111, you're also looking at sometimes a twin flame energy or a divine counterpart, however you want to call it. Which is why I'm going to talk about in a second why you get this mirroring energy. So it's possible you will see yourself in one or both of these piles as I go through them. All right. But again, 11 and 4 is also 15, which is our devil card. So this could be you're going through something in your life right now that is, I'm feeling like you're obsessed with. It could be work, it could be a person, it could be, um, you know, any number of things. Honestly, it could be an alcohol addiction or a drug addiction. But I'm seeing that you are really consumed with something. And again, going back to this duality card, you see the 2 snakes. Of course, duality, it makes sense, right? But it also speaks and encourages this mirroring energy because here in the person B energy we have toxic relationships, right? Which also gives us this 2 parts to it. So it could be that this person, if you're person A, you're shedding your skin, you're growing, you're changing. It could be you're finding a new path, whereas person B, or again you, if you're relating to this, you're reaching for a new path, you're reaching for some kind of enlightenment and maybe still questioning. Whereas it almost seems to me, person A, you're like shedding your skin to because you see the new path, you see something new and different, and you're willing to move forward and take the chance on that and like embody your power, embody your inner divine Madame Marie Laveau, right? And also notice that she's got this. I can get this up here. She's also got this snake around her neck. Looks like a boa constrictor, but I can't be 100% sure. I'm not a snake expert. I think it's called a herpetologist. I'm not that, but again, it's consistent here with the snakes and with the noise outside. I apologize for that. But again, it sounds like a plane taking off, which again to me is, I know it's outside noise, but it really is just driving home this point of you are taking off and heading in a new direction. You're shedding that skin. You're going somewhere new. You're going somewhere different, and you are doing so vis-a-vis learning by seeing, some of the more divine aspects of life. You don't just have like palmistry here, but you have, all manner of things. You have signs here from the astrology era. You also have some planetary signs. You've got just a variety of things in here that are very, I don't want to say occultish, but that's the best way I can describe it. Very esoteric. And so it seems you're learning in a very spiritual way, and you're sharpening your senses in terms of spirituality, growth, and that growth could be specifically with business. Although Marie Laveau here in this card number 1 is very reminiscent of stepping into your own power. That's why it says power, but like it could even be in a business way where you are, in the business of doing business, like you are getting your stuff together. She's got this, like, I'm looking at this one eyebrow kind of cocked over here where she's like, oh, really? And I'm thinking like, oh, you don't think I can do it? Watch me. That's how I feel you are, pile A. If that's you or whoever you're thinking about, it's this energy of Queen of Wands ish, very self assured, very powerful, very action oriented. And like, again, the words I'm hearing here are like, watch me. Okay. You think I can't do this? Watch me. And we have also this fulfillment card, which, um, I mean, kind of speaks for itself, right? I mean, you're looking at a ripe, fertile ground here, eliminating the negative. The positive is on the way. You're in a harvesting season. This is something I feel like you have been building up to for a while. Again, it's that snake shedding the skin. It's not something that happens like that. It's something that takes time. It's something that you are growing into, and it seems to me the time has come. You are now ripe, if you will, for the picking. You are ready to shed that skin. You are in a season of your life where you are ready to grow and change and take the learning um, that you have brought on in this time to your advantage and to make it to your highest good, right? For your power, for your job, for whatever it is that's important to you right now. And it could be any number of things. It could be a job, it could be family, it could be, again, just a hobby that is very important to you for a reason. Whatever it is you've been learning, you've been growing. I'm seeing like a not what I'm seeing, but I'm feeling like it's like a teapot, right? It's just getting ready to start whistling, where you've been bubbling under the surface here. And I want to move this out of the way for a second so you can see here we have the Lilith card. And as you'll see, it's describing power, activism, vengeance, even, right? And sometimes we think of Marie Laveau as being involved in some of the dark arts, and those would include vengeance, spells of evil. I don't necessarily think that that's you, pile A, here, person A, but it is something that is possible. It feels like to me, if this learning, if this energy of growth and change, a warning I'm hearing is if you misdirect this, if you use this and are not in the process of healing, you could misdirect this into anger and hurtfulness. So I'm hearing spirit caution you to make sure that you are aware of what your motives are, that it's not this 15 devil energy of obsession and pain and the interest of inflicting pain on somebody, because this learning that you've been doing, this spiritual growing, could very easily be misused and turned into something dark and heavy and not positive. So that's just a warning. That's probably for only just a few people. I would imagine that the vast majority of people watching this on This Is Not Legal Advice are people who are, interested in growing and learning in a positive direction, and using what they have learned in a positive way to help themselves. But just, again, be aware that that is a risk, that when you grow and change and come into your own power, you could inadvertently use that power for bad things. Now, we also have here the seventh house, partnership, balance, right? One-on-one relationships. So it's also the house ruled by Libra. And we're going to come back to this in a second, because on the other side, this is why I was talking about mirroring, we have Pallas, right? Pallas Athena, which is the Greek goddess of knowledge and wisdom. She popped out of Zeus's head fully grown. But the seventh house is a house of partnership. It's a house of relationships and marriage. And so what I'm seeing is, if you are in a person A energy, you are somebody who is very interested in channeling what you have learned and your personal growth into the relational aspect of your life. How can I, now that I feel this great sense of myself, now that I'm coming into my own and I'm resolving maybe some of these conflicts within, how is this going to affect my partnerships here? Can I either form a new relationship or heal an existing relationship? That's part of what I'm hearing. You are there's, like, again, this duality, right? You could be of two minds, where maybe you're in a relationship and you don't know whether you're growing in a way that is beneficial to the relationship, or whether you're growing apart from your partner. And I could see certainly a situation where you are growing independently, and as you come into your own and you're maturing and you're developing, you feel also that very conflicted, because that growth is causing you to feel like you're growing away from the person that you are in a relationship with. And so, like I said, there's this like duality there. So if this feels like you, then it is likely the person in your mind is this person B. Although, again, the energy could be switched. But there is, like I said, a lot of mirroring and a lot of balance. And that's why it's also interesting to me that the seventh house is ruled by Libra. And we have the balance here, the duality, the balance of the toxic relationships, right? In terms of the visual presentation of it, right? It is an energy of consideration over time. It is an energy of not swift action, but of deep contemplation followed by action based on careful consideration. Okay. And I'm going to come back to this. This is the energy between the two of you. But let's talk about person B here for a second. So when we look at this, we can see the mirroring here between Lilith, which is, taking aligned action. You can have a lot of misunderstanding, but it's also, this energy of aligning with your true path. That's why I said, you could be in a position where you are ripening as you've developed in your maybe your spiritual, religious, or personal ways. You're ripening to your true path and what that might look like. I'm seeing here, before we get too much into the magnolia here, you're opening like a flower, you're blooming, right? And that doesn't happen one day. That happens, over time, and then you see the beauty of it, right? So when we look at, excuse me, person B, I want to make sure I'm looking at my notes here. Excuse me. We talk about taking a step back. This is somebody here in deep contemplation, looking out at the waters. And when I see someone in a card like this looking out at water, I feel like the cups energy, which is an energy, of course, of love. Um, Cups are, associated with emotion. And so I'm also seeing a few other things here. First of all, this looks kind of like some of the cliffs of Dover. They're not completely, they're not white, right? Like the white cliffs of Dover, but perhaps you're British or have some British ancestry where this speaks to you. Or it could be Ireland. There's some beautiful cliffs in Ireland. But you're taking a step back, right? If you were to take a step forward right here, it looks like there's nothing there to catch you. And so rather than step forward, this person B, it also makes me think of the Fool card, right? Where the Fool is just taking a blind step off of a cliff. Um, you're kind of being advised, but also aware, person, if you're person B, to take a step back off. Like, don't leap into the emotion. Don't leap into, I'm feeling like swift action. Like I'm feeling like somebody who is like very reactive. Contrary to this person, that there may be a lot of thought and deep process involved. This is somebody who is prone to taking hasty steps. And again, there's a place and a time for everything. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but this card is saying, look, take a step back. And of course, we have number 15 again. We just talked about 11 and 4, 15. We're seeing the mirroring here, number 15. Also, 1 and 5 is 6, which is your lover's energy. So I'm definitely getting a feeling with all these things together that this is a romantic relationship. There are choices to be made here. Um, this is, I mean, if it were me, I'm terrified of heights like this, right? So if it were me standing at the edge of this cliff, I would be terrified. But the person here seems focused on the distance, on the beauty of the sunset, and the waves coming in. Although, strangely enough, I'm feeling this is a sunrise. Like they're seeing something coming up. This person here is seeing something come up, a change, something new and different, but only because they have chosen to stay still and or take that step back and observe the beauty of things in front of them. Now, taking that together with toxic relationships, right? It says, I create positive relationships, positive relationship foundations with myself and other people. And I'm seeing again a foundation here. Instead of taking the leap off the cliff, you're stepping back. You're trying to maybe act a little more contrary to your intrinsic nature of that, like getter, the go getter, the doer, the action taker. You're taking a step back and saying, okay, how, right? There's a lot of how here. How can I achieve this, right? Because you get this little question mark there, right? How can I achieve this enlightenment, this growth? And this person B, if you're person B or who you know as person B, they're reaching for this. I think perhaps they truly don't know. This might be the first time in this person's life where instead of just doing, they were inspired to take a step back and reach for something different, something that they haven't experienced before and that they don't truly understand. So in the case of, if you're person A, the person you're thinking about, maybe somebody who for the first time in his or her life or their lives, maybe thinking about spirituality or growth in other ways, whether it's career or just generally in a personal level, whether they're seeking counseling, things like that. But it's the first time where I'm seeing that that's happened with them. And now we have the card number here, 37, which, 3 and 7 is 10. And then I want to come here to the card beneath it that came out, which is also number 10. So the tens in tarot represent an end of a cycle, something coming to a conclusion. And so what I'm seeing here on the whole is an energy, like I said, of somebody who has had enough of their prior life. Like person A also has, but it's been a slow build, a slow burn. This person is like finally seeing the light here. See, look at that. My amethyst fell, right? Knowledge coming in. The person is finally seeing the light for the first time. Again, that's why I'm feeling like it's a sunrise. Like for the first time, they're seeing this light. It's new, it's different, and they're having a breakthrough. It's the end of this cycle, whatever it is that they've been through. It's almost like an energy of waking up. Whereas again, person A, I think, has been in the process of waking up. This person, it's more of a sudden change. And what's interesting to me is also looking at this communication card. Even though women anticipate a communication card might be two people represented like talking to one another, that's not what's here. You have somebody meditating, right? Their hands are in this position. They're meditating. So who are they communicating with? And this to me says they're communicating with spirit, with their they're coming to peace in their mind. They're coming into focus. So I feel like your person over here might be a little lost, a little confused, and for the first time in that person's life, are they're really seeing something in a new and different way, and their sense of security here, security is being shaken up. You know, we have this bonfire here, and notice there's nobody in the vicinity of the bonfire, so it's almost like burning for its own sake, or like somebody lit it on fire and then, I don't know, step back from it. It's like the fire was lit in this person's heart, mind, soul, whatever you'd like to consider it being, um, where all prior concepts of security are changing, and they left the security. I'm hearing they're like they left the security of the fire for something new and different. And also, apologize. I have to take drinks every now and again. I have a dry mouth. You can see like almost like a hieroglyph on this wall here, which looks sort of like a platypus. I don't know. I can't really make it out. Maybe a kiwi bird or some kind of duck. But this to me is somebody who is taking wing, although platypi don't fly. They are an interesting creature. They are different. They are unusual. So there could be something very unusual in terms of compared to like typical society about person B, but it's something unique and beautiful that you see about them that maybe isn't recognized. And now maybe they're not focusing so much on themselves and their own anomalies, but stepping away from the security. Let me go back a second, because security sometimes for some people and a lot of people, it's not a judgment call by any stretch for me, Tinla, by the way, not a judgment call at all for me. But there are some people where their security is a sense of being an outcast. It's not a security that's born of, oh, I feel so good and secure in myself. It's almost like the negative of that. Like they're so used to being the outcast or feeling bad about themselves that there is almost like an identity that is formed. Like they are feeling their sense of security by virtue of like, I am the one that is, unusual in some way. Maybe they feel like they have some kind of like neurodivergence that causes them to be excluded, which I'm not saying I agree with any of this. I'm saying how this person may feel. They may feel like they're not attractive for whatever reason. I'm feeling like ugly duckling syndrome, right? Where, they are beautiful just in the wrong crowd. But again, there's a sense of security sometimes that can come from, I at least know what I am, and what I am may not be a beautiful thing, at least as society is concerned, but it is still something that is stable and dependable. And now I'm hearing a helicopter, which is not unusual. I live near a hospital with a helipad, which makes me feel like it's reaffirming this security that comes in many forms, because helicopters, a lot of times can hover. They can hover in ways that planes can't. And I'm feeling there's an energy of, at least in the past with this person, of hovering in a stable sort of way, a secure way, where they weren't being challenged, they weren't reaching, but now they are. And it could be that you triggered this person. And it could be also, I want to point out, because of this palace card here, wisdom, skill, self-defense. Now that's what the card says, but what I'm interpreting it as is in hand with the seventh house on person A's side, because these things are together in the seventh house. These things are, hold on, spirit, I'm coming. Okay. These things are both related to the urge to partner up. So it could be that this person's urge to partner up with you, or to have a relationship or more meaningful relationship with person A, I keep saying you, but take it as it resonates, that is causing that person to have this change, this step back, this, wait a minute, what was secure before is no longer working for me energy. And remember, I said a while ago, this is Pallas, right, which is an asteroid, but it is also tied to Athena, which is the Greek goddess of wisdom, born fully grown from Zeus's mind. And this reinforces to me that this person is having a burst forth moment. Again, Athena was not born in the traditional sense. This was an individual, in terms of being a goddess, if you will, who just, again, popped out fully grown and wise, not somebody who went through the traditional 9 months of gestation, or 10 technically, of gestation, and then was born into this world like your average everyday person. This was somebody who just came out. So whereas I'm seeing like this person A was more of the traditional route of time, growth, things over time progressing, this person, again, very much popping out full grown, things just suddenly taking a turn. And that's where I'm seeing also with this planetary return. This is an energy of growth and transformation. It only happens every 29, 30 years. And it is something where, I'm not saying like midlife crisis, but this is somebody who maybe has reached a point in their life where everything they thought they knew about life, love, and everything else um, is coming to a total shift. And it's probably the first time in their life, like I'm saying here, where there was, like, again, that sudden change. Again, slow change, slow burn, fast. And it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. They're just different, right? And then we have here magnolia. Now, a magnolia here is also identified as card number one, which takes us back to the magician, Marie Laveau. We also have a lot of this white flower energy, which makes me think of tying in this white dress here of, magnolias, if you've not been around one, have just a gorgeous scent to them. They are very pervasive through the air. If you're walking around, like, again, New Orleans, these are my New Orleans cards. If you're walking around New Orleans, you can get just this really rich scent of magnolia. And it is just a beautiful blossom and just a really intoxicating scent, right? And this talks about leadership and greatness. And what I'm feeling with this is that the two of you are being called to greatness together. Without one another, you are not, how can I put it? When you come together, you are greater than the sum of your parts. You can be great, person A, on your own. Or if you're person B, you can be great on your own. Perhaps your purpose right now was to encounter one another, trigger a change, and then go about your ways. That is possible. What is that phrase? Like, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? It could be this is just somebody who triggers you to go your separate ways. This one more fast, this one more slowly. But whatever it is, I'm seeing like a fresh, like a rebirth. I'm also hearing, because Spirit's really funny. There was a movie that came out some years ago called Magnolia, and it was 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back, involving Tom Cruise and frogs raining from the sky. So maybe frogs are like your spirit animal for some reason, or you're into amphibious nature, like maybe you scuba dive. I'm feeling like scuba diving for some reason, or you were in a metamorphosis type energy yourself, like a frog going from tadpole to frog. But anyway, that makes me think of the movie, and I felt compelled to bring that up. Or maybe Tom Cruise has a specific meaning to you, or maybe you met this person on a cruise, or somebody named Tom. There was, like, I feel like Nicole Kidman might have also been in it. It's been a while since I saw it, and quite honestly, I tried to block it out because it was. Listen, feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but it was something. I don't know what, but it was something. So, in terms of this reading, though, what I'm seeing here is, again, that mirroring energy, very similar, like it's the same but different. Like, you're both going through changes, you're both growing, you're both changing, you're both expanding on your knowledge, and it's a beautiful thing, it's a great thing. It's just happening in different ways. And if you're person A, because you've been going through this change for a long period of time, you might feel frustrated about the pace at which person B is changing, or whether they're changing. You may find yourself wondering, is this person ever going to change? And I think what Spirit is saying here is, yes, they will, and it will be unexpected, this change. Um, I'm feeling very like swords energy, like a page of swords kind of thing. But let's check the tarot and find out. What I'd like to know is, what is the energy of person B, please? What is the energy of person B as I do this reading, or whenever my viewer sees it? Thank you, Spirit. And again, thank you for joining me on This Is Not Legal Advice. I am Timla. All right, look at that. We have the Magician. We talked about that. Marie Laveau, number one, the Magician. We also had that Magnolia energy, number one. Okay. We have Six of Wands. Six of Wands is an energy of uh, victoriously overcoming, right? Temperance, balance, Sagittarius energy. The Hierophant, energy of learning, of knowledge, of growth. And Knight of Swords. Didn't I just say swords energy? Swords energy. I don't know if I don't remember right now if I said Page of Swords or Knight of Swords, but this is the energy I'm talking about. It's this energy of going and doing, and doing it quickly, right? So just take a look. Look here, like this. Okay, I've got to. Okay, sorry, I'm just excited about this. I love reading, and I appreciate you hanging in there with me. So again, the magician has all the tools at his or her disposal to make things happen in life. Look at how, though, you see like one wing open here, one wing open here. So it's like these two wings are telling this person, go this way, manifest this life. And tradition, which is also Hierophant energy, is saying, but wait a minute, what about this? Um, and so I feel like this person B that we're talking about here, excuse me, I don't normally I get this many burps, but it's almost like an energy coming out. I'm so sorry. But anyway, it's almost like they're torn between, do I go this way or this way? And then this Knight of Swords comes in and says, let's just roll. Let's just roll and do the thing. Let's just gear up and get it done. And you can see also from these feathers coming off that this is very sudden movement. This is movement of just quick action, which is why I said there was that swords energy that I was feeling, because it's not that, like, that same energy of person A of like that slow growth. This is rapid growth, and there were decisions to be made here. Also, I've not seen pink owls. Please drop a comment if you've seen pink owls. I'm not like an owl aficionado of any kind, but it makes me feel like it reminds me of like the roseate spoonbill, which is native to the area I live. They're an endangered species, or at least they were at some point. And so it makes me feel like Spirit's saying the person that you are dealing with in person B, or if that is you, is a rare person. It's the person that is once in a lifetime, if you're lucky, maybe maybe twice, kind of person who is willing to make a sudden change, who's willing to take the energy and the effort to change who, not necessarily who they are, but like how they perceive and act and move in this world, right? So, this person I think is, looking very stoic, and understands that they have the power in their hands right now to make change. And again, reflecting, because we had Marie Laveau over here on this side with the magician energy. Now it's on this side with person B. And then we have Two of Pentacles, which is an energy of, um, coming into balance. Like this person, is coming into, like, there's a change, right? And depending on the deck, the Two of Pentacles, like some are up here and then down here, or vice versa. But in this deck, these two happen to be pretty equal. So it's almost like your person B here is finally looking up and saying, okay, what do I have to do to bring these into balance? And they're making it happen. It's in progress. So if you're thinking about somebody that you are romantically interested in, you may not have heard from this person, and maybe you're feeling like this person forgot you, or they're not maturing. Maybe they were very immature in how they handle the relationship. I think they're doing a lot of behind the scenes work that you are unaware of. Um, it's very high priestess energy. It's hidden, a very moon kind of energy. So let's take a look. Also, I want to point out, of the 5 cards that came out here, we've got 3 major arcana, which says to me this is a significant move here. And then we've got, other than that, we have air and we have fire. Fire, of course, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and then we have air, which is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And fire, well, fire is built up by air, right? You can't have a fire without oxygen feeding it. So this is an energy of, I'm seeing like a snowball effect, right? Once this person makes one change, it just goes down. I don't want to say downhill, but like it builds upon itself, not insists upon itself. That's different. That's a reference to the Godfather and Family Guy. And again, drop a like if you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, just humor me. Let's get the energy of person A, please. Sorry, it's turning interesting. Person A, please. Person A. Thank you, Spirit. Oh, okay. This one's going on the floor. So person A, you're being a little stubborn, a little tricky. What do we have here? Okay, we have the Four of Pentacles. What did I just say? Stubborn, tricky. Four of Pentacles is stubbornness. It's holding on. It's not letting go. It's shielding your pentacles. It's it's just definitely that energy I was just feeling. We also have Eight of Cups, ready to move on, ready to leave it behind, which makes sense. Nine of Wands, wounded warrior energy. Um, you know, like moving toward the end, right? We had those tens here before when we were talking, and now this is Nine of Wands. This is that wounded warrior. I'm so close to the end, but do I give up and call it a day? Do I keep going? What's it look like for me? And I'm going to come back to that in a second. We've got our Two of Pentacles showing up again, the Chariot, right? And the King of Wands. Bottom of the deck energy, the World, right? The end of a cycle, okay? So and we talked about that earlier. So let's come back to these. So this is my person A energy down here. We talked about the Four of Pentacles being an energy of, again, not letting go, holding on, kind of keeping some things close to the vest, but there's a little bit that sneaks out. So if you're person A, I'm seeing where like um, you're hiding how much you really want to interact with person B, but every now and again, like something slips out, like a text or like a little bit of a smile, like more than like a lingering glance, that sort of thing. um, Eight of Cups, I think you really want to move on. I think between that and the Nine of Wands, I think you are over it. I think there's a lot of you that says, I am so tired. I've been working on myself. Remember, person A, working on myself, shedding my skin. I've been growing, I've been changing, and I'm not seeing any change in this other person. And um, I'm hearing this dog that sounds very guard doggy outside. I don't know if you can hear that barking outside, but I feel like you're very guarded. You've been through it. You're guarded here with this Four of Pentacles, and I feel like you've been really hurt if you're person A. And yes, the 10 energy might be around the corner, but you've seen enough. You feel like you've seen enough. You've been growing. You've been changing. Like you're not seeing any change. You're not seeing any growth from this person B. And you yourself, again, mirroring energy very much, you're also feeling like you're coming into balance. Like they might be coming into balance more suddenly, like with the wings almost ready to take off, but you have been coming into balance in your own time, in a more gradual way. You are ready to move on with a Chariot. You are ready to just keep going, right? You got other things to do. You're looking the other way. King of Wands, which is fire energy. It's an energy of um, you know passion, of movement, right? And this card is looking away from what would normally be, except for my limited space here, person B, looking away. You're ready to show yourself out the door this way. And so I think there's, and we got red flags, right? Red flags. I think that you are, if you're person A, you're seeing the lack of what you perceive as a lack of change on the part of person B, you're seeing that as a bunch of red flags, and perhaps you're being advised by those around you, to move on, to keep going, to look the other way and direct your energy elsewhere, to give up. And again, I don't blame you, person A, if that's who you are, you're person A, you're thinking, I haven't seen anything from this person. Maybe you haven't heard from them in a while, and you're just like, why am I even doing this anymore? Right? This person, this you as a chariot, like, look at you. If that's you, person A, like, you are giving me some serious stink eye. You're like, listen, Tim, aren't you seeing these red flags? This is not normal. People don't treat people they love like this. Don't you see that? Because I see that. That's what I'm feeling from you. If you're person A, you see that. And also, by the way, with that sort of like Roman looking crown of laurels there, you might be getting some wisdom, some learning, some educated counseling from, in the best possible way, from friends. Now, friends or family members might be sticking their nose in a little bit. And to be clear, it's because you invited them to, right? Maybe you complained about person B and how they weren't changing, and your friends or family are telling you, oh, that girl, those are red flags, boy, watch out, that person's trouble. Whatever your gender is, it's not the point. It's the person you're interested in, person B. Bad news, run away, right? Look the other way, go away, right? But with the world on the bottom, there is a completion here of a cycle. This is very peaceable energy. This is getting ready to start again, right? Because once you come off the world, you go to the Fool, right? And the Fool is an energy of taking that risk. We talked about that. Remember, we talked about the Fool and the individual getting ready to walk off the cliff, right? And then they change their mind. This person here, remember, I mentioned that, right? The Fool card feeling, like, speaking to me. And that's what the world goes into. Once you come off of 21 in the world, you go back into zero, the Fool, and you start your journey again. So it's almost a sense of getting to a new place, starting over, if you're willing to hold tight. And if you're not, that's fine. I'm not advocating either way. But if you are willing to hold tight and not move on, and I want to be clear about that, you should move on in the terms of being like at whole, like, at peace and feeling whole within yourself. Whatever happens with the other person on the side of this, like, you should do you, regardless. That's what I'm feeling like spirit saying, is like, do you, be healthy, be happy, be whole on your own. So I want to be super clear about that. But if you're willing to keep an open heart, let's say that, to the possibility of this person coming back around and starting over with that Fool card, you're on the precipice here. And as you saw, I just came back around. Underneath that, we have the Ten of Cups, right? And the Ten of Cups is one of the happier cards in the deck. It's fulfillment, it's completion. It's another 10. It's the end of a cycle, right? And I'm seeing also Seven of Pentacles right underneath that. That is an energy of starting to build, planting seeds for the future. So, and I also felt the need to say, this is 10, this is 7, so maybe July 10th, October 7th are important dates to you for some reason. October 7th would be Libra. July 10th would be Cancer energy. So maybe those are significant to you for some reason, somebody watching. But whatever the case may be, if you are in a place, whether you're person A or person B, where you're willing to remain open to the possibility of the other person coming around and trying to start things afresh with you, if you're willing to do that, I feel like there's a positive outcome here. And I'm just going to see if I can get a couple cards on advice, and then we'll go into some channeled messages from your person. Okay. So let's see what we can do. And by the way, thanks for sticking around. If you're still here, please like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. I would appreciate it. Still in the growing my channel phase. I mean, although I think people are always, but I'm just happy to hopefully help at least one person. That's all that matters to me. Is if you are somebody that this like speaks to, it means the world to me. The world, number 21. To feel like it has positively impacted you. So thank you in advance. All right. What is the advice that Spirit has for my beautiful viewer? What is the advice that Spirit has? Okay. Six of Pentacles, an energy of, generally speaking, balance. But I am an intuitive reader, and I look at this card. One of the reasons I love this deck is it has these just gorgeous pictures here. The Six of Pentacles. Like, look, this person is offering, or this owl is offering the other owl a token of love, a token of appreciation. Very Ace of Pentacles, right? Just like a small love offer, a small caring offer, a small offer of healing, of growth. I mean, if this is not a romantic interest, which I feel like it is, but if it's not, the person's like extending that olive branch just a little bit, like, hey, can we reconnect? Like, look, I really rebuilt myself. I've done some good things. I have things to offer you. And you might be feeling like, when I look at this owl, I feel like it's a little bit wounded, like a wounded bird, right? Maybe you're feeling wounded, you're feeling tired. That's very Nine of Pentacles. And this person comes in, much to your surprise, and says, look, here, let me give you this. I don't know how a pentacle would honestly help a wounded bird, but you do what you will with that. Okay. Two of Cups, bottom of the deck. Oh my goodness, look how beautiful that is. Two of Cups, like it's love. So if this is something you're willing to do, if this is something you're interested in, if this is something that you are willing to be patient with, I do see a small offer of love. I do see Spirit saying, look, there will be an offer coming toward you. And if you're willing to accept it. Now that's up to you. Of course, if you're willing to accept it, it's always up to you. Future's unknown and heretofore unwritten, but these are just possibilities. Now, if Spirit were to give advice to the person on your mind, the other person, so if you're A, I'm talking B, and vice versa. If Spirit were to do that, what would Spirit say? Spirit, what would you say? Oh, okay. All right, we've got the Hermit, Four of Swords, and the Four of Cups. Okay, more four energy, which is healing and stability. Now, notice in these cards, the three of them here together, I want to put them up to the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. All three of these birds have their eyes closed, right? Now, not all the cards in the deck are like that, but all three of these are, which, is says to me at some level, this person might be dreaming about you. So Spirit might be saying, look, if Spirit were again talking to the person on your mind, the other person here, you're in hermit energy, but it's time to maybe come out. You've done your healing. It's time to come out and to emerge from your withdrawal and open your eyes and see that there's this offer of love available to you if you can just turn your head a little bit. So what I feel like, again, if Spirit were advising a person, this is just for you to know and them to deal with on their own. Spirit would be saying, look, come out of your hermitage, come out of your healing and withdrawal phase, because this person may have, like I said, gone very quiet on you. And turn your head and see that this offer of love is coming in for you. And you just need to open your eyes. Let's take a look bottom of the deck. I'm just curious. Queen of Cups. Look at that. See that one has her eyes open. That bird has the eyes open. This is an energy of somebody who is in love, somebody who has a lot of love to give, who is stable, who is confident, who is able to open his or her heart. I mean, it's a queen, but ignore the genders. It's not the point. Somebody who is confident enough in who that person is to not worry about what the other person's doing. Like if you the viewer, are so confident in who you are and in your own healing and your own journey that it doesn't matter to you one way or another if this person is the person in your mind is somebody who is going to do something or not. You are good either way. I think both of you, A and B, need to be in the energy of I'm good either way. And because this turned into some kind of like mirroring divine counterpart type reading, I'm being told to pull these oracle cards. So that is what I will do. So I'm just going to give them a shuffle. It's a very large deck. I said deck, just to be clear. So let's see what Spirit has to say in terms of messages from the person on your mind. So if you're person A, this is from person B, and again, vice versa. Once again, this is not legal advice, but it is advice from Spirit. It is channel love messages. So let's give it a cut and see what is going on. Bottom of the deck, I feel your energy all around me and cannot help but hope that you feel my energy around you too. So this person feeling you, I think you're feeling them too. And I think maybe that's what bothers you so much, right? Is that you are in this process of change, this sort of chrysalis, like the butterfly, right? Where you are growing, you are changing, you're developing over time. And yet it's infuriating to you that you can feel their energy around you and yet nothing is happening. But this person also feels your energy there too. It's just that their approach and how long it takes them to deal with that or what it causes them to do or how to do it is just a different way. Different isn't bad, different is just different. And I think that can be a challenging lesson to learn. I mean, I'm not immune to it. I always feel like sometimes I have the best way of doing it, right? Always, sometimes. I feel like I have the best way of doing things. Very Virgo. Anyway, next card. I am being divinely guided towards you. We were made for one another, and I now believe it. Okay. All right, let's get a couple more, Spirit, please, for my beautiful pile 3 folks. And by the way, if pile 3, I mean, we're like really deep into this thing. We're almost an hour into it. But if for some reason, like either this doesn't speak to you or you feel like there's more, there's also pile 1 and 2 that you can check out, right? Your love has changed me and I can never go back to the way things were in the past. Okay, again, that's that energy of change. I think there's change on both sides. You're changing in your way and they're changing in their way. For us to be together, it would require me to leave everything I've worked for behind, and I'm not ready to lose what I've built. I think this is the struggle your person is dealing with. They are perhaps being withheld in their growth, and I'm feeling like this energy of you're at a stoplight almost, and you decide to gun it on the car. You know what I mean? Like you're just like going to rev the engine and just go. This person right now is at that stoplight of what they're perceiving as barriers to being with you. into growth. And I think they're like about to let it go, right? They're building all this up inside, and they're about to just like go. I am planning a big surprise for you. Get ready to expect the unexpected. I don't know how you expect the unexpected, but whatever that means, you do that. Let's get some more, right? Because I know like the other readings were a little bit longer, and I want to make sure you're getting your money's worth here, in a manner of speaking. Of course, we are divine counterparts. I know we are twin flames that belong together. Going back to that mirroring energy, that divine counterpart energy I was talking about. It is my fault that things between us never worked out, and I am sorry for blaming you. So this person that you're thinking about, again, maybe not changing because they're so caught up in the blame game, and also being worried that there would be a lot of change required. Let's take a look. This is the one that flipped over, which is where I was going. I want a whole new life with you, and I will leave everything behind in process for our union. Okay, this is again hesitation and hit the gas, go. Same feeling there, right? A whole new life with you, getting going, getting. I don't want to say started because I feel like there's like you two did start something. That the only way you can get the world is if you've started, right? You can't get to the end without a start. So there's something that happened between the two of you, where it was like you were together. It could have even been a long time, and you broke up because you felt like this person was never going to change. Whatever it is, gas gas is being hit. Green light, go. I daydream about the moment I can sweep you off your feet and embrace you with a kiss. So again, a lot of this purple emotional energy here, higher level sort of thing. All right, what do we go? Oh, this person does not want you to see this, whatever it is, but I do. So look at that. I have clarity on my higher purpose, and our connection is a part of it. So they are actually doing more work, I think, than you realize they're doing. They may actually leapfrog you with this dynamic burst of change, which honestly, I feel like that's just going to tick you off. If you've been here doing the work and trying so hard and journaling and meditating and all the things and the stuff, right? And then they just like, boop, and it's like, oh, look at that. I'm somehow, in a better place emotionally than you are. Like, I think that's just going to irritate you, but I guess that's a lesson. It's always about lessons, isn't it? I want to spend the rest of my life with you, grow old with you, have a family with you, and live out our last days together as one. Adorbs. I love it. I love it for you. Pile 3. Again, no matter what the challenges have been here, I'm seeing that the two of you are peas in a pod. You are life mates one way or another. Even like I said, even if it's not romantic, it could be like your like best friend where the two of you are going to be making snide jokes with each other in the nursing home, right? Years from now. God brought you into my life for a reason. I'm trying to understand the purpose of our connection. Again, there's a lot of this purple, a lot of mental energy, a lot of thoughts. This person is really in their head, really in their head. Not to say you're not, okay, but they're just worried. When you least expect it, I will come back to you. Everyone will witness our love in the 3D. And I have 2 more, please, Spirit. 2 more to close this bad boy out for my beautiful pile 3 viewers. During this time apart, I have done a lot of self-reflecting and recognizing how deep our connection is. And there you have it, my dears, right? Everything we were talking about. I won't repeat it. Rewind it. Watch it again. Okay? But it's everything. It's everything we've been talking about. Can I get one more, please, Spirit? One more. Something flipped. Oh, something flipped and then popped out. So let's see what flipped. Oh, you visit me in my dreams. Did I talk about that? I feel like I talked about that. Somebody talking, like seeing you in their dreams. Anyway, I cannot escape the thoughts of you, and I need to feel your body on mine. I have never been able to express how much you truly mean to me due to past trauma. And this popped out over here on the side. Would you move in with me? Let's wake up next to one another each and every morning. So last one, bottom of the deck. These emotions I have for you are too intense that it causes me to run away. I'm not ready for this love. So this is the challenge. Could be I'm hearing on both sides. You might have the urge to run away and feel a little bit, I hate to say bitter, but a little bit bitter about how hard you've been working and not seeing any progress. This person, meanwhile, is dealing with their own demons and really healing from past trauma. And they are doing their own version of work, but it's a lot of internal stuff that you're not seeing yet. But I think it's going to like come in when you least expect it. So I think what Spirit's saying here is live your best life. You do you. Worry about yourself and your growth. And this person, hopefully will come in a time when you're still ready. But if they're not, at least you will be in a better place. So all that being said, thanks for joining me. This is Tinla at This Is Not Legal Advice. Like, share, subscribe, etc. Much love. Bye.